still an option. My trusted friends at Birch Gold Group can help you own gold inside your retirement account. Start now by getting a free info kit on gold. We're facing the same monetary chaos as the 70s with significantly more debt. Don't wait. Get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Totem Pope tattoo, the Nazi tattoo. How do you kind of?
Somebody said that they talked to somebody who had seen one of those or wore one of those, and it was silver, and it didn't even occur to him that it was the same thing. I think people are making as much of it as they can because they don't have a lot of substance around anything else. And if they did, we'd hear about it. Believe me, they are trolling for dirt.
What if he had like a Israeli flag tattoo or something? Would that be a deal breaker?
For me?
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
That would be
Israeli? Yeah, because I don't support genocide, and he doesn't either. And that would show that he was being inconsistent. And he's been very consistent about that, straight across the board.
I mean, just the very beginning. I heard from someone who talked to someone else who may have seen what like he didn't even deny it anymore. Like, she's basically saying, oh, the Nazi tattoo, that doesn't bother me because, maybe it could be this, maybe. No, he covered it up, which is an admission of, yeah, I'm aware this is a Nazi tattoo. Oh, man. There's a lot to be said here, but we don't have a ton of time to get to it, but that's hilarious. I also, too, like the juxtaposition of, okay, well, what if he had an Israeli flag? Yeah, well, we were kind of Nazis, because that's why I don't like that's why I don't really find anything wrong with the actual Nazi tattoo. But yeah, the Israeli flag, that's, the reason is because we're actually Nazis, is effectively what you probably wanted to say, but couldn't. That's hilarious. Fun. Best way to combat your lib enemies is give them a microphone and let them talk. All right, let's see. Oh, it's Monday. We have a fun Meltdown Monday for today, but it is in fact Meltdown Monday.
It's Meltdown Monday. Meltdown Monday. Happy Meltdown Monday today.
Again, haters will say that video is AI, but it's not. It's legit. It's not AI. There's a lot of directions to go for this. Let's go ahead and pull up this clip. Turning Point's WLS Summit, the Women's Leadership Summit, was unfortunately beset by a bunch of violent rioters. And not exactly the violent parts right here, but over the weekend you saw a bunch of clips coming out from this of effectively them fighting the cops at the beginning of or at the entrance to the event. And nobody is surprised. And the couple different directions that I could go here is, one, just to make fun of it. Like, they started their march at the San Antonio Riverwalk and walked all the way through. And I think I tweeted over the weekend, and I support these people getting some exercise. As you can see, most of them are drastically overweight. And, maybe if it takes them hating us to get out and walk a little bit, get that blood flowing, great. We don't have any of the violence over there. That's okay. You can kind of just see. We guys just make fun of, what is it? Unleash the look. The thing is, libs, unfortunately, and this is a much more serious discussion as opposed to my fat shaming them. So much. Oh, here we go. There, yeah, all right, we got it. This is more like, not that I'm like happy about this, but this is more like what they're usually like. This is a kind of, I don't know, them. This is the left being the left. And the reason that violence so often occurs, and again, I'm not trying to jerk you back and forth from hilarious fat shaming to, we got to talk about lib violence, is when you have an ideology that does not square with reality, but you're dead set to holding that ideology and refuse to compromise it in any way, shape, or form, Unfortunately, tragically, violence is the only answer they have. Right? Like, because what we believe in truth and in morality is true, we are willing to continue to rest on our arguments. If your argument is so bad that it doesn't square with reality, there's no moral guideline to it, the inevitable conclusion of that is resorting to violence. It's terrible, it's tragic, it's awful. Obviously, we've seen horrific. Charlie Kirk got assassinated because that is the unfortunate, violent inevitability of leftist ideology. Because what they believe in the world is not reality, that's the conclusion of it. That's the trajectory of it. There's no arguing your way into changing what's true and changing the truth. And so instead, they try to enforce the truth through violence. And it's disgusting and horrible and continues to be on display. Well, now I'm mad. That's not what we do here on the show. Now we started that segment off fun, making fun of the overweight feminist sociology majors, finally getting out and getting some exercise, and then culminated with something that makes me freaking furious. But of course, I'm not going to go do any sort of violence to anybody, and conservatives don't do that sort of thing because we can't actually rest on the truth that we speak of and believe it, because that's what being a conservative is. All right, tpt@tpca.com is the email address. Send along your thoughts, comments, concerns, criticisms, mailbag coming up after the break. Don't go away.
When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
This is a bottlenose dolphin, and this is the breakthrough nutrient doctors discovered that help dolphins age healthier. Now, over 100 peer-reviewed studies later, it can help you age healthier too. Discover how at fatty15.com.
The media has sold us out. Our institutions are rotting, and the American family is under siege. I'm John Popola, CEO of Emergent Order Foundation, and we are fighting back. From Dad Saves America to bold, unapologetic content about faith, freedom, and fatherhood, we're telling stories that the legacy media has abandoned. Join the mission. Scan the QR code or visit eof-rav.com to support media that fights for America.
We're living through a monetary crime scene, and your IRA or 401k is a key victim. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. In 1971, gold was $35 an ounce. After the dollar was cut loose from it, inflation soared. And just
by how much? Triple.
Yeah, 172,000 jobs created.
Sometimes I wish he'd let her answer. He's like, how much? Triple. Now let her say it. How much? Because that's a great response. We beat them. Yeah, they were strong. No, they were very strong. Well, how much did we beat them by? Make her say it. I think it'd be great. That, of course, is prior to when President Trump walked off the interview and justifiably so. If you want to see that video, the whole thing leading up to it with some commentary, let us know, tbt@tpca.com in the email address. Also, hey, if you're not registered to vote, or you don't know if you're registered to vote because your state does some hanky-panky or weird stuff, hanky-panky is not. That implies another thing. That hokey pokey. That's what I was meaning to say. You got to go to turningpointtonight.com. Check to see if you're registered to vote. 30% of people who are eligible to vote aren't registered to vote, and several people who have registered to vote, I don't know, you moved, you got kicked off the voter rolls for whatever reason. Make sure you're registered to vote. Turningpointtonight.com. You can fill it out in 30 seconds during the commercial break. Very, very easy to do. All right. Let's see. In the minute and a half that we have left, let's get some mailbag. This is what is this? This is from our elections reel on Facebook. We don't need it. All right. So this is a video talking about the failed state of California. We don't need to see my face continually on this. You get the picture. These are comments from that video. Greg says they count the votes slowly to make sure how many they need to find to ensure a win. Here's a clip of Governor Newsom that we'll play probably tomorrow that we've played before on the show, but kind of reiterates the break the glass ceiling approach. Jorge says this is actually great. I'm assuming you're not from California. Xavier Becerra is a highly known politician in California. The vote count takes about 10 days every election. First of all, no, it doesn't. Kamala Harris, when she was elected Attorney General in California in 2011, it took 4 weeks, and that's just one example. Second, I am from California, and nobody I know has ever heard of Xavier Becerra outside of people who work in the political realm in California. I at church this Sunday, they know what I do. They say, who the hell is Becerra? Is he a thing? Like, yeah, I mean, he's going to be the governor of California, unfortunately. Nobody knows who this guy is. All right, tpt@tpca.com is the email address. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
Tucker, you are not the father. This has to be wrong.
After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
If it was okay to have anal sex.
No apologies.
You were talking about things that probably you shouldn't talk about.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I finally had my own show. At one point, your ancestors owned slaves.
They tried to cancel us.
Deep platforming works.
She went to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
We're gonna cut your penis off, actually.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with your host, Alex Stein, starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to After Hours with Alex Stein right here on Real America's Voice. We got a great episode for you this evening. We have on the great Natasha Owens to talk about her latest hit song, TDS, or, as people call it, Trump Derangement Syndrome. We're also going to be talking about the 50-year anniversary of the USS Liberty attack, where Israel accidentally attacked an American naval ship. But before we get into all of that, we got to talk about this freaking election in California, and I'm pulling out my dang hair. I'm crashing out because Spencer Pratt was up 8 points on the night of the election. Neitha Ramen Noodle, dumb idiot woman, and she's not dumb because she's a woman. She's dumb because she's Indian, but that's actually like Indians. But you know what I mean. My point is this. Spencer Pratt ran an incredible campaign. He was constantly going viral. He was getting supported by people on the right. And the left, because he had a simple plan to fix Los Angeles. He was going to make sure that it did not burn down again by putting water in the reservoirs and trying to fix all of the homeless drug addicts that are shooting up fentanyl around elementary schools. So those are basically his two main things that he campaigned on. He wanted less crack addicts around your children, and he wanted to make sure that the city of Los Angeles did the bare minimum to keep the citizens safe the next time a wildfire inevitably took off in Los Angeles, and make sure that not everybody's house burned down, because his house got burned down. His mother's house got burned down. He did this because he wanted to make Los Angeles a better place. But instead, we are stuck with Karen Bass and Neitha Rahman. Now, ordinarily, this wouldn't be a big deal, because a guy that leans conservative trying to run for mayor in a very liberal city, it just seemed like an unattainable task. Seemed like it was impossible. But Spencer got momentum. He got momentum. He got a lot of support. And on the night of the election, he was up by 8 points, and Neitha Rahman was crying, giving a concession speech. But guess what? California has a month to count the votes. And surprisingly, Neitha Rahman beat Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass, who were 1 and 2 when it came to in-person and day of election and voting the same day. They're both crushing her. And somehow, now Neitha Rahman caught up and is going to advance to the runoff versus Karen Bass. This fraud happened right in front of our faces. And people are like, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? All the evidence that I need is the fact that Spencer Pratt was crushing when it came to people voting in person. And again, you let this amount of mail-in ballots come in 7 days late. All they need is a freaking postmark that they were submitted on June 2nd. Those count. And the fact that it takes a month to count 700,000 mail-in ballots is insane. So I just want you guys to know that I don't have a bunch of evidence. Oh, here's the evidence. Here's blah, 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 blah. All the evidence I need is just to see the organic support that Spencer Pratt had and the inorganic support that Neitha Rahman has, who nobody knows who that is. And somehow now she's getting more votes than Karen Bass. So the next time Los Angeles burns, guess what, guys? You deserve it. I don't care. Not my problem. I feel more empathy for the stray cats that are going to get burnt up in the next wildfire than I do the citizens. Because if the citizens want to vote for losers like this to stay in charge, you get what you deserve. Now, I want to play this clip of Fox News talking about how the race is over.
This is the mayor's race in Los Angeles. Karen Bass advanced early last week. You got 83% of the vote counted already, so you can do the math, how much of a percentage is still out there. Here's the headline, and here's the news. Spencer Pratt, who held on to second place all week last week, has now dropped to third. And Neitha Rahman, a progressive who used to work and support Karen Bass, has now moved into slot number 2. Pratt trails Rahman now by about 3,000 votes as it stands right now in Monday morning.
It just doesn't make sense. But if you're actually paying attention, a similar chart like that happened during the 2020 election when Donald Trump somehow lost it to Joe Biden because Sleepy Joe was able to come up with millions of mail-in ballots right at the right time to ensure that Joe Biden became president. But I want to play this clip of Gavin Newsom talking about this break the glass scenario that sounds awfully fishy.
We all have agencies. We can shape the future. There's still a lot. I've said this before, so I'll repeat it. I don't anticipate this need to be the case, but there is a break the glass scenario. And there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out. And we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen. I'll leave it at that.
Gavin Newsom admitting that if there was a possibility the Democrats got locked out of their elections, they have a break the glass scenario, which indicates something that you do in a fire. You'd break the glass with a fire extinguisher and then you'd put out the fire. Well, this is how they put out fires in California. Instead of putting water in the reservoirs, they steal elections from politicians that they can't control. And that's why they don't like Spencer Pratt. Because sure, he doesn't have a lot of experience, but I would argue that his lack of experience is better than all of the bad experience that Karen Bass has or Neitha Rahman has from being career politicians. Sometimes at work, it's harder to train somebody that's worked in that same job previously somewhere else because they're stuck in their bad ways. Sometimes it's better to have a fresh person to teach them how to do that job. And I think Spencer Pratt would have been the best candidate. And I'm not the only one that thinks there's something fishy about this election. Even the president of the United States, Donald Trump, thinks something is going on, and he was pressed about it on Meet the Press. And he said the same exact thing that I said. I can tell that there's cheating because I have two eyes and I can look what happened. So let's play this clip of Trump on Meet the Press talking about this stolen election.
Let me tell you, it's 4 days and they aren't even close to coming up with it.
That's how they count.
You know
the
why they're
votes in
doing that?
California.
Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
all
that?
I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
and
evidence.
I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking?
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging
They're
the votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote in
crooked,
California.
just like.
I do agree that the people that are counting the votes in Los Angeles are a little slow, but not because it's not because it's their choice. It's because they actually are probably have Down syndrome. And no offense. I know I have minor Down syndrome, so I can say that. But this is what I will say. Donald Trump is exactly right. Of course, I'm sure after the fact, there will be evidence that comes out. There will be some smoking gun, and it'll all be too late to actually put Spencer Pratt back in the runoff. But I'm sure all of that evidence will come to light one day. But in the meantime, the only evidence that I need to prove that this election was stolen was the fact that it's almost impossible to go in and lie and cheat while you actually go and vote in person. Yes, the Senate did not pass the SAVE Act, which would ensure that we have a lot more integrity with our elections because you'd have to show an ID. So yeah, sure, there's a few people that probably go and vote under some other person's name. But it's much easier to steal an election with mail-in ballots because the door to fraud is wide open. Anybody can harvest a ballot, go drop it off, boom, they voted. They're going to give us this excuse, oh, we're spending a long time doing it because we're matching signatures. They're not matching signatures. It's some idiot that didn't even know how to read, probably clamping it, stamping it, and saying that is a vote for Neitha Rahman. So let's not pretend like this election was organic and that Neitha Rahman just somehow, all of a sudden, when it came to mail-in ballots, got more support than Karen Bass, the current mayor, and Spencer Pratt, who was winning by 8 points, nearly 60,000 votes on the night of the election. And just the fact that Neitha Rahman gave a concession speech because she thought the likelihood of her winning was impossible after seeing such a big discrepancy when it came to the vote totals. It's a frustrating day for all Americans. Even if we don't live in Los Angeles, this should rise and make us come together and start calling out the administration, not necessarily Trump, but putting pressure on Trump to investigate what happened in Los Angeles. Because if they're going to steal an election for Joe Biden in 2020, they're going to steal a mayor election here in Los Angeles. They're going to continue to steal elections right in front of our face because we are too stupid or too lazy to do anything about it. And we cannot be complacent. So I urge everybody, if you're frustrated, talk about it, be about it, let the world know. And I don't care if they call you a crazy conspiracy theorist, because guess what? I got a clip right here that talks about basically 16 years of evidence of voter fraud happening in California. Let's play the clip.
This is the cheating that's been going on in California for 16 years now. They have this down to an art. The fact that they have already called this race for him after Steve was ahead at the end of election night is a sham, and we all know it. Luckily, the FBI and the feds are on the ground, and this thing better get exposed because I tell you, folks, we can't take too much more of this here in the state of California. They are destroying this state. Nothing is fair here anymore. Nothing.
She's exactly right. And that's why I'm calling on Kash Patel. We don't need to be hanging out at hockey games, Kash Patel. You need to use FBI resources to investigate what happened with this election in California. That's your job as FBI director. If we see fraud, you need to go expose it. We don't need Nick Shirley, no offense to Nick Shirley, to try to expose this. We need the FBI director. So I'm calling on you, Kash Patel. It's your time to shine. And exposing this might save your job. But who am I to say? All right, guys, right after these commercials, we have on the great Natasha Owens to talk about her brand new hit single, TDS. That's coming up right after these.
Pamela, wait. Must be on the fat shot drugs.
Ugh, she looks amazing.
Girls, of course it's weight loss shots. She's never been able to lose weight before.
But wait, she has energy, and she doesn't have that saggy weight loss face.
It's not the shots or a crash diet. It's Almaced, the natural superfood protein shake that lets you lose weight in a healthy way. Forget shots. Did you know that research shows that most people drop off popular weight loss diets in a year and gain the weight back? Worse yet, they lost lean muscle and zapped their metabolism. With Almaced, you can maintain 100% of your muscle mass.
I dropped the weight, but I didn't lose the muscle mass. That was very important.
Lose up to 2 dress sizes in 6 weeks.
I had lost 45 pounds. I say it's a miracle in a can.
I went from a size 18 to a size 8.
The reason why you're having trouble losing weight could be a liver clogged with fat. Almaced is a scientifically proven food supplement that uses natural amino acids to help unclog your liver and optimize your metabolism, so it's easier to lose weight.
Almaced helps you have younger looking skin and hair with amino acids your body needs to build collagen naturally.
I feel better, my skin's healthier, my hair's better.
I went from 260 pounds to 175. I wasn't hungry. It made me feel full. There was no side effects.
Almaced naturally reduces the hunger hormone, so you feel full and eat less. Go to Almaced.com now to get started for just $39.99. That's $4 a meal.
It was Almaced, not the fat shots? Mind blown.
Almaced is not a substitute for prescription medicines and is not intended to treat any condition associated with GLP-1 therapy. See scientific studies supporting our claims at almaced.com/research.
The must-see theatrical event of the summer, and just in time for America's 250th birthday, is Young Washington, a brand new movie from our good friends at Angel Studios. This tremendous movie tells the story of George Washington before he was a general or our president. He faced crushing failures, near-death experiences, and pivotal moments that forged his courage and leadership. The film stars Andy Serkis, Kelsey Grammer, and Ben Kingsley, and drops into theaters right on the anniversary of our country's founding. What Angel is offering right now is a premium Angel Guild membership for $15 a month or $135 for an annual membership. And with that membership, you get 2 free tickets to see Young Washington in theaters. You'll have access to Angel's entire streaming library. So how are you celebrating America's 250th birthday? I'd recommend becoming an Angel Guild premium member, which you can do by scanning the QR code on your screen or going to angel.com/. America.
Welcome back to After Hours with Alex Stein right here on Real America's Voice. Now, my next guest, she is a country music sensation, in my opinion. But she doesn't just sing country, but she's also a Christian. She's a mom, and she has a great voice. Let's welcome on the one, the only Natasha Owens to talk about her new hit song, TDS. Now, Natasha, thank you for joining us, but I got a question already for you. I was talking to the executives here at Real America's Voice and Real America's Music, and they said this TDS song has been causing a bunch of controversy, and already it's like there's been a bunch of drama surrounding it. Can you tell us, like, have they already been trying to cancel you for this song? What's been going on?
We always get tech suppression, always. But, this has struck a chord with the liberals. For 10 years, they have down spiraled at the name Trump and anybody that's associated with it. And so we have stirred up a hornet's nest. And I think the death threat started a lot quicker with this one than with Trump one.
Wow. I get those death threats too, and I always kind of disregard it. But they find my dad's profile, and then they send him a death threat, and then my dad calls me, freaks out, and that's kind of off limits, right? Because my dad actually gets nervous. He's not like a public person like you and I are, where we kind of come to expect these things, and we also know that they're kind of usually like veiled threats. But have they ever come after your lovely husband or your children because of one of your songs?
Not on social media. They've sent things to my house, being passive aggressive. But I agree with you. Poor dad. I mean, some things are off limits, but they have no boundaries. Nothing is sacred to
having sex with his subordinates, and I don't think that's very cool. So do you think that will get exposed, his weird past, dating all of his employees?
We've got to make sure it gets exposed. And both candidates, Ken has some baggage too, but he doesn't have half as much as Tallarico. And I guarantee you, if you open up that baggage, you're going to see some pretty freaky stuff, including probably some dresses.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this much: I don't even care about the baggage. As long as the candidate cares about the state of Texas or cares about the United States of America, then that candidate will be the best for the job. And I think that Ken Paxton's resume speaks for himself. So that's where I'm at with this. So I don't care about all the baggage, even Tallarico's baggage. I just know that he sucks as a politician. But before you go, tell the people how they can find you and support you and where they can download TDS by Natasha Owens.
NatashaOwensMusic.com, anywhere you normally get music streaming, but it really helps for you to go to iTunes and download it. We're trying to get it up from, I think it's 40 or 37 right now. We're trying to get it to that #1 spot. So if you'll download it and buy it, I would greatly appreciate it. And then share it with all your friends. Watch it on YouTube. That helps me get the Billboard numbers, because I know I want an award on the wall and to be a winner in this culture war. And I know, Alex, you want that same award, which you will get on your wall showing a #1 record.
Yes, guys. So if you support me, you support Rav, you support Real America's Music. And if you support Natasha Owens, please go download it. I know you think, oh, well, it needs billions and trillions of downloads. Not really. Just your organic support will actually be the thing that puts it over the top and helps ensure that it reaches top 10. And then, gives us the ability to potentially get a Billboard. So Natasha, thank you for allowing me to even be on this song. I hope we can collaborate more in the future and at the GOP convention next week. So Godspeed. You're the best, Natasha. And everybody, go download TDS by Natasha Owens. Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you.
All right, guys, coming up next, we're going to get into it. The USS Liberty. Was it a false flag attack by Israel? I don't know. I'm going to let you guys be the judge, but that's coming up next.
We're living through a monetary crime scene, and your IRA or 401k is a key victim. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. In 1971, gold was $35 an ounce. After the dollar was cut loose from it, inflation soared. And just 9 years later, gold hit $850. People who diversified into precious metals survived and thrived. Today, we're in a worse position because we face inflation and massive debt, and every solution to one problem inflames the other. Fortunately, gold is still an option. My trusted friends at Birch Gold Group can help you own gold inside your retirement account. Start now by getting a free info kit on gold. We're facing the same monetary chaos as the 70s with significantly more debt. Don't wait. Get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
When you look at your grocery bill, is it so high it knocks you off your feet? It's time to stand up and save with InstaSeal by Bell & Howell, the world's first vertical vacuum sealing system designed to save you money. Unlike ordinary storage bags that trap air in, spoiling your food, InstaSeal removes the air completely, extending freshness up to 6 times longer. Now that's saving. Look, flat sealers create a big mess, but InstaSeal is upright, mess-free, and easy. The secret is Smart Seal technology. With just one touch, it auto-feeds the bag to seal, pauses to vacuum out the air, then continues to perfectly seal. Plus, InstaSeal has a motor powerful enough to crush cans, but smart enough to save crackers from turning to dust. Forget big, bulky sealers you have to put away. InstaSeal's compact design stays to help you seal and save every day. Got a great deal on chicken, meat, or fish? InstaSeal protects it from freezer burn. Now buy groceries in bulk. Make meals ahead of time. InstaSeal and save. It even works with all Universal Storage System bags. Buy on sale meats. InstaSeal and save. When you add it all up, InstaSeal will help you seal and save hundreds on your family's grocery bill. Call or go online now and get the complete InstaSeal system that keeps food fresh 6 times longer with enough storage bags to fill your entire fridge for the special TV discount price of just $99.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. You get it all, an incredible value for one low price. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-308-6802 or go to buyinstaseal.com. So call 1-800-308-6802 or order online at buyinstaseal.com.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening on After Hours with Alex Stein right here on Real America's Voice. Now, this next topic is very controversial, but I don't want to really give you some sort of controversial take just for controversial sake. I don't think that is a good, strategy, but I do want to talk about the USS Liberty. And the reason why I talk about this USS Liberty tragedy right now is because it is the 50th year anniversary of an attack on a U.S. naval ship by Israel. Now, the official story is that Israel didn't understand. They thought it was an Egyptian boat, or they thought it was some sort of adversary. They didn't realize it was their greatest ally, America. And they flew around and they blew up this naval ship. And because of the Navy, the American naval soldiers, they fought back so hard, they were able to basically saved the lives of the majority of the people on the ship, but sadly 34 members of the Navy died that day. But there's a lot of weird coincidences when it comes to the story of the USS Liberty, like the fact that Israel says that they did not know it was an American ship, but somehow they also had the same technology to jam the distress signal, making it much harder for the USS Liberty to send out a distress signal and get American naval support. So how are you able to block the signal of a boat that you don't know who that boat is? If you can listen to their signal, you can listen to their distress signal. You would think that maybe you know who they're trying to send that signal to. But listen, I'm a conspiracy theorist. You don't have to believe me. But I want to play this clip of Jeremy Boring talking about how, oh my gosh, all the conspiracy theorists are such idiots. This is just the IDF and Israel. They just made an oopsie poopsie. While at the same time saying that the IDF is arguably the greatest military on earth. So which one is it? They're a great military, or they just made a horrible mistake by killing 34 members of their allied country of America? It just doesn't make sense. But let's play this clip of Jeremy talking about it.
A conspiracy theory is distinct from a conspiracy because of its unfalsifiability. Conspiracies happen all the time. The powerful sin, so do the weak. Sometimes sinners work together to secretly effectuate their sinful ends. That's a conspiracy. A conspiracy theory is something else entirely. It begins where the evidence ends. It takes unanswered questions and treats them as though they are the answers. It takes gaps in knowledge and treats them as proof.
Now, Jeremy, I'll agree with you. Moon landing conspiracies, flat earth conspiracies. Some conspiracies, you're taking one nugget of truth and you're extrapolating a bunch of crazy theories from that. But when it comes to the USS Liberty, I don't know if we're exactly doing that, because all of the evidence that is presented to us, it's just out in the open. Israel attacked a Navy ship when the weather was clear. There was a huge flag on the Navy ship. There was a huge logo on the Navy ship. Anybody that was paying attention would be able to notice that as an American ship. And you're like, why would they do this? What are the motivations for attacking one of their allies? Well, Israel at this time was very interested in making it look like Egypt did this. And this is the alleged conspiracy theorist angle, is that they did a false flag attack and they purposely attacked the USS Liberty with the hopes that it would sink and everybody on board would die. And then they could blame it on Egypt because they wanted the United States to join them in a battle against Egypt. That's how false flags work. Now, I know I sound like a crazy person because there's probably somebody watching this in Tel Aviv right now. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. You're anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semitic. My grandfather is Jewish, so I'm allowed to say this. So I'll just tell you this much. Thomas Massie was on the floor of Congress today eulogizing the lost soldiers that we lost in this horrible, horrible terror attack on a Navy ship. But they've been telling us that Iran has been bombing us for 47 years and that Iran is constantly killing American soldiers and that we have to go attack Iran because over the past 47 years, they've killed American soldiers. Well, that may be true. I'm not saying it's not. But it's very weird. We would never attack Israel, even though we have clear evidence that they killed 34 of our soldiers in a friendly fire attack. Seems kind of like a double standard. But let's listen to what Thomas Massie has to say.
On the next day, on June 8th, they started the day. The visibility was unlimited. The American flag was flying proudly on the USS Liberty. More planes came from Israel to surveil the boat, the ship. And they thought they were in good shape. But what happened next surprised them all. French Mirage jets showed up and for 25 minutes strafed and attacked the USS Liberty. They shot rockets. They shot 30-millimeter cannons into the hull and into the ship. They even dropped napalm on the bridge of the ship. This was an effort to kill everybody on board. There was no intention of taking prisoners.
Now, I agree with Thomas Massie. This attack was not meant to have any survivors. And luckily, the United States has the greatest Navy on earth, so they were able to fend off this attack. But what was also weird about it is that even if it was an accident, once the sailors were able to get on life rafts, they continued to shoot and attack the life rafts. Which you'd think by that point, you could see, oh, that's an American. That's an American. I mean, even with binoculars, I think you could figure out who's getting in those lifeboats. But I'm going to let you be the judge. Me and Tommy Massie, we pretty much basically agree that this attack was very weird and that it probably was a false flag to get us involved in a war that we didn't need to get involved with or didn't have any motivation to get involved with at the time. So they have to create a motivation. And that would be attacking the United States naval ship, the USS Liberty, under the guise that it was done by Egypt. Now, let's play a little more of Thomas's speech.
And the USS Liberty, even though their signals were being jammed by the Israelis, got a signal out. And there were ships that tried to respond. The USS Saratoga, the USS America sent planes. Both of them sent planes to help the USS Liberty. And something happened that's never happened before. A ship under attack, the planes were recalled. This has never happened before. And they sat there for 17 hours. 34 dead, 174 wounded out of 294 crew members. That's over 70% casualty rate, unheard of. The Israelis were intent on leaving no survivor.
I mean, Thomas Massie, by going and speaking on the floor of Congress and bringing up this very divisive topic, I have to applaud him because it is not the easy road to take. But at the same exact time, a little bit of this is because he's mad because the Israeli lobby spent $30 million to campaign against him, making him lose his primary race for congressman in Kentucky. So I think a little bit of this is motivated by that, which is fair. But I will say, sadly, whether it's 9/11, whether it's JFK, or whether it's USS Liberty, we're never truly going to ever get transparency on what actually happened. And Thomas Massie, in this next clip I want to play, he's calling for an investigation. But fat chance is all I'm going to say to that. Let's play the clip.
Well, I've got a call to action for everybody here. Honor these individuals. Quit ignoring that they exist. Go to their website, ussliberty.org. Support them. And while they're still alive, they need closure. Let's give them closure. Let's have an investigation. Let's pass a resolution honoring them. It's long overdue. And then they can have their justice.
That's a bold stance to take, Thomas. I appreciate you taking it, but I really am not going to hold my breath on the likelihood that the United States is actually going to investigate this because let's be real. Foreign interest groups basically run D.C. and lobbyists like AIPAC and all the other kind of hidden named pro-Israel lobbyist groups will never let another politician actually put in legislation that would cause the administration to look into this. So let's just kind of, see it for what it is. The fact is, the official story is this. There was a Navy ship that got attacked by Israel. Israel's official stance is that oopsie poopsie was an accident. But if you look at all of the evidence, the fact that they jammed the signal, making it almost impossible for the USS Liberty to even send out a distress signal, the fact that they attacked the lifeboats when the soldiers were just trying to get to safety. The fact that they were able to send out a distress signal barely, and somehow the United States military recalled the lifelines, the aircrafts that were meant to save the soldiers and sailors on that boat. And just the sheer fact that multiple people on that boat noticed planes with Israeli flags flying above them. So don't take my word for it. You can look up Captain Ward. He said that it was a coordinated attack, not done on accident, but done strategically, because they were able to bomb the USS Liberty's intelligence unit of the boat. The specific area of the boat that handles all the intelligence for the United States Navy on that ship was strategically bombed. And why would Israel want to do that? Because maybe Israel was worried about America spying on them. Even though we're allies, let's be real. They just announced last week that the Pentagon is worried that Israel might be currently spying on Americans, and there might be Israeli spies in the Trump administration. Duh. I mean, I think that's obvious. Welcome to Obviousville. So when it comes to this subject, I know it's controversial, and I don't want to start a war with Israel because of it. I love Israel. I'm very pro-Israel. But I will say this. They're telling us a fanciful story that we need to fight a war with Iran because they've been attacking United States soldiers all over the Middle East for the past 47 years. Well, 50 years ago, we have concrete proof that Israel attacked an American naval ship and killed 34 of our United States service members that did not deserve to die that day. So I think we should just call it like we see it. You call balls and strikes. Israel should not have attacked us. Are we going to hold them accountable? I doubt it. Are we ever going to get transparency surrounding this subject? I doubt it. But that doesn't mean we need to be blackpilled. We just need to continue to honor the legacy of all the great sailors that we lost that day. And to remember that the world is not a perfect place. War is dangerous. Sometimes you're going to accidentally bomb a school. That happens. Oopsie poopsie. So all is fair in love and war. All right, guys, coming up next, we're going to talk about Mayor Mamdani somehow got some really cheap tickets to Game 3 of the New York Knicks NBA Finals. Verse. Who are the Knicks playing? Oh, they're playing San Antonio, Wemby. Yeah, we're going to get into that. And Donald Trump's going to be at the game, too. That's all coming up right after these commercials.
Check this out. Behind this curtain is an outdated bath and shower. Now, I want you folks to imagine transforming this eyesore into a beautiful jacuzzi bath remodel in as little as one day.
Jacuzzi Bath Remodel went straight to the source, people just like you, to answer the biggest bath and shower remodel questions.
What my bathroom looks like is really important to me. Are there a lot of design options?
Yes. Jacuzzi has stylish shower walls, designer colors, and premium features like soft closed doors, all with genuine jacuzzi quality.
Call right now and Jacuzzi will waive installation costs with no interest and no payments for up to a year.
Our moms are elderly. We're so worried about them slipping and falling in the shower.
We all know how unsafe it is to step over a shower tub, right? Yeah. Just step right into your easy entry shower by Jacuzzi. Our showers have never been safer. We have durable grab bars, grab shelves. Go ahead, pull yourself up by it.
That is really cool. There we go. Really this nice. Is a great safety feature. I love this.
No slip floor right there.
I really like this seat because if she's tired during the shower, she can sit and take her time.
I love the texture. It's really beautiful.
Yes, and you'll never have to scrub grout again. And this is mold and mildew resistant, so you just rinse and go.
That's incredible.
We're thinking about remodeling.
But that can get expensive.
Well, it's more affordable than you might think, and we have great financing options.
It's really beautiful. The quality of it, I'm blown away.
Best of all, it's from Jacuzzi, the most trusted name in water for over 70 years. I know you'd love to upgrade, and there's never been a better time than now with this incredible offer.
Call or go online now to jacuzzibathremodel.com for a limited time offer. We're waiving all installation costs, plus zero interest and zero payments for up to 1 year.
Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-992-0958.
The must-see theatrical event of the summer, and just in time for America's 250th birthday, is Young Washington, a brand new movie from our good friends at Angel Studios. This tremendous movie tells the story of George Washington before he was a general or our president. He faced crushing failures, near-death experiences, and pivotal moments that forged his courage and leadership. The film stars Andy Serkis, Kelsey Grammer, and Ben Kingsley, and drops into theaters right on the anniversary of our country's founding. What Angel is offering right now is a premium Angel Guild membership for $15 a month or $135 for an annual membership. And with that membership, you get 2 free tickets to see Young Washington in theaters. You'll have access to Angel's entire streaming library. So how are you celebrating America's 250th birthday? I'd recommend becoming an Angel Guild premium member, which you can do by scanning the QR code on your screen or going to angel.com/wrap. Happy birthday, America.
Got that, you know I stick it in my vein. Put a bullet in Prime time, 99 on the grind all the time.
Thank you guys so much for staying up late. You're watching After Hours with Alex Stein right here on Real America's Voice. Now, let me tell you my secret. This is how I keep the energy up for all of you freaking, primetime Alex Stein fans out there. It's this delicious energy drink. It is 0 sugar, 5 calories, and it's called Soldier Fuel. It's delicious. It's better than the Red Bull and Monster. All of those energy drinks pale in comparison to this delicious energy elixir. And if you guys want to actually support a brand that actually helps out our military troops, 15% of the proceeds go to help out our military veterans. Make sure to go to buysoldierfuel.com and order some today, and go to amazon.com. If you got that Prime, you'll get it to your house in less than 48 hours. And it's a delicious drink that will keep you gassed up all night long. All right, so we got to talk about my favorite mayor, other than Karen Bass, because she's going to let the whole entire city of Los Angeles burn next time, is the one Zohran, the moron, Mamdani. He's the jihadi from the block. I guess Jenny from the block was J-Lo. Well, this is the jihadi from the block, my man, Zohran Mamdani. And it looks like he is going to be at the New York Knicks Game 3 versus San Antonio Spurs in New York City. Now, the Knicks are up 2-0 in the series. It's looking like they're probably going to do I don't want to say a sweep because there's a lot of basketball left to play, but it looks like they have all the momentum. The fact that they were able to win 2 games on the road and now they're at home where they should have, home court advantage. It's going to be very interesting. But of course, what happens when the New York Knicks are playing in the NBA Finals in New York? All the celebrities come out. So the mayor is going to be there, as well as the 47th and 45th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. So security is going to be extra tight at this NBA game. I'm excited to watch it. But I want to play this clip of Mamdani talking about how he's going to the game.
You were saying that you purchased a standing room only ticket. I'm just not familiar. Did you get like a discount from the Garden through that? Or was that just something you bought online on like Ticketmaster?
So that's something that I purchased directly from the Madison Square Garden. Close to $1,000 was the price of it. And standing room only is just the section that I'll be standing in.
You know what makes me mad? Is just be honest. Like, you're the mayor of New York. If somehow the Knicks gave you free tickets to the game, that would make sense. You're the mayor. And if they didn't give you free tickets, then what is the owner, the Dolans, they don't like you that much? Like, they must think you suck if they can't even give the mayor of the city a free ticket. So the fact that you're trying to virtue signal and act like, oh, I spent $1,000 on this ticket, when if you go to StubHub or SeatGeek or any of the ticket outlets, the cheapest ticket currently right now is $7,000. And somehow you got one for $1,000. Why don't you just be a badass and be like, I got it for free. I'm the mayor of New York. Why are you even asking me a dumb question like that, you stupid reporter? I'm the mayor. I'm going to get invited to things. I get invited to NBA games, even if it's the NBA Finals, because I'm the mayor of the biggest city on planet Earth, basically. So, Mamdani, I actually want the New York Knicks to win. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. Don't really like the ownership that much, but I really don't like the San Antonio Spurs. So I don't want them to win. I like Jalen Brunson. So I'm rooting for the New York Knicks. I'm sure Mamdani is too. So this is one of the few times where Mamdani and I are on the same side of the aisle. But I bet his seat is not on the aisle. I bet his seat is freaking courtside. So excited to see Donald Trump at the game. But the same direction that New York City is heading will be identical to the situation that Seattle is in. Now, Seattle is a liberal hellhole where homeless fentanyl addicts have better access to drug paraphernalia than they do mental health counseling because they think that it's your right to get high on drugs and be strung out and steal from convenience stores in order to get your next fix. Well, I don't think so. I don't think that's good. And I think that this homeless crisis that we're facing here in America could be solved if we actually went to the source of the problem, the fact that people are addicted to drugs. Because even a person with a family can get addicted to drugs and alcohol and lose everything in an instant because drugs have that sort of hold on people. By giving homeless people easier access to drugs and easier access to housing that they don't even want to use, to me, seems like a waste of resources and a waste of money. We invest billions of dollars into the homeless industrial complex every year, and the problem only gets worse. Because these people don't want a home, they want help, but we don't help them. We enable the drug addicts. So look at this plan that Seattle's doing to help the homeless.
The accommodations are cozy. Each one of these sleeper units is 70 square feet, and the builder tells us each one costs $16,000. Along with 75 single adult units, there are laundry, bathroom, and community facilities. Mayor Wilson also had this to say about being way behind on her goal of 500 shelter beds by mid-June and 1,000 beds by the end of the year.
So when people say, is it failure not to have created 500 units by now? What I want to say is, as long as there are thousands of people sleeping unsheltered on our streets, yes, we are failing. We are failing. Collectively, we are failing.
The mayor says the shelter will also offer health services, including drug treatment, which will be encouraged but not mandated.
Now, all that looks fine and dandy, but let me ask you a serious question. If you're in Seattle, Washington, and it's 2 a.m, would you want to be hanging out in those housing pods? No. Why? Because everybody in those little housing units are going to be smoking crack and fentanyl like it's their job, because it literally is their job. So a homeless person is able to go out, beg, borrow, and steal enough money to continue to use drugs. They're pretty creative. They're pretty resourceful. So what is Seattle doing by giving them these little pods to live in? Is it really making their life that much better? No. What you're doing is you're enabling drug addicts to meet other drug addicts in order to help them get more drugs. If this was a inpatient drug rehabilitation center, then I would be all for it. But the fact that you're going to give a little micro home to a crack addict and expect the problem to go away is ludicrous. Seems like a waste of resources. So Seattle, you guys are heading in a horrible direction. You've been heading in that direction for a long time. And sadly, California is now on a path to be even worse in Seattle because of the stolen election of Spencer Pratt. Now, I want to play this last clip. This is James Lee talking about that there is evidence that Spencer Pratt had his election stolen in California. Let's play it.
This is probably going to piss a lot of people off, but we got to talk about voter fraud in California. First off, it's official. Nithya Raman has officially surpassed Spencer Pratt for second place in the race for LA mayor and will likely face off against Karen Bass in the general election. Spencer Pratt is now in third. And this is 100% fraud, and I have the proof. On June 3rd, financial prediction guru Jim Cramer guaranteed that Spencer Pratt would be the next mayor of LA, and he's almost never wrong. So this is your first sign that there's some kind of fraud going on. Okay, and Spencer Pratt himself predicted that he would get over 50% of the vote just a few days before the election. That obviously did not happen, so also fraud. And then there's also this. The final poll that was taken before the election had Karen Bass in first place, Nithya Raman projected to be second, Spencer Pratt third, and we all know that polls are fake. Put another tally in the fraud column. And the fact that Spencer Pratt got the same percentage of votes that Donald Trump got in LA in 2024 should signal to you fraud. This one's a little bit more anecdotal, but we have friends texting other friends, allegedly reminding them of where they grew up and that city's particular political leanings and where they went to college and where they now live and how they feel about the election. The results are fraudulent. And let's also not forget to mention that Nithya Raman, who just surpassed Spencer Pratt, tried to pull the old concede and then steal the election gambit. This is a very common tactic in election fraud. Please take notice. In fact, there's so much fraud in California that Republicans are outperforming their expectations with multiple.
The fraud is so rampant in California that it doesn't even take an expert to notice it. So Spencer Pratt got his election stolen. I'm not going to change my mind about it, and you shouldn't either. And we all need to ring the alarm bell about this because the whole world needs to know that that election was stolen just like in 2020. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I want to give a big shout out to our guest, Natasha Owens, and everybody go download her latest song with her and I on it, TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. It's a great song, and it calls out all the libtards on the left. And I also want to make a big announcement on the show. Primetime Alex Stein is going to be hitting the road all of July. I'm heading to 9 cities. I'm going to Birmingham, Raleigh, New Jersey, Philly, Atlanta, Austin. Where else am I going? Indy and St. Louis. If you guys want to come see me on tour live and in person, make sure to go to alexstein99.com. I want to see you guys all at the show. We're going to be going insane for the Ukraine. I'm not going to be pulling any punches. So if you guys want to see some unfiltered, raw, and uncensored comedy, make sure to go to alexstein99 and get some tickets to see me this month and all of July, coming to a city near you. And I want to shout out the latest from Real America's Music. Our girl, Rachel Holt, has a great song. It's called Great Idea. I love it. You're going to love it too. Make sure to hit the QR code and download it today. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Get ready for new music from one of country music's rising voices. This Friday, Rachel Holt releases her brand new EP, Great Idea, a collection of songs filled with heart, honesty, and unforgettable storytelling.
We've been working on this project for probably the last 2 years or so. I like to sing Real America's country music. We're trying to get the origins of country.
A new release from Real America's Music. Download it now. Scan the QR code or search Great Idea by Rachel Holt on iTunes. Don't miss the new EP from Rachel Holt.
To try to live. Forgiveness is a great idea. Until you got somebody you gotta forgive. Until you got somebody you gotta.
1 in 4 kids grows up without a father. That's not just a bland statistic. It's a national crisis. I'm John Popola, host of Dad Saves America and CEO of Emergent Order Foundation. I like to say we're what it would look like if Warner Brothers and PBS had a baby that actually loved America. We're building a movement that defends the family and calls men to step up, not check out. Visit dsa-rav.com today to take a stand for fatherhood and the American family.
Hello, this is Wayne Allen Root, and you're on the air.
Get ready, America. The conversation starts now. This is America Speaks.
Hey, Wayne, what do you think about Obama?
He was a communist, socialist, Marxist radical.
I agree. He's unfiltered, and he's taking your calls live.
Wayne, how do you see the current state of MAGA?
We are winning. We're taking back the agenda. We're not punching bags anymore. We're actually punching back.
Sir Wayne Allen Root.
I'm the loudest MAGA mouth in the USA, coming to you from Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world.
Pick up the phone, join the conversation, and let your voice be heard.
This is America Speaks, and it starts right now on Real America's Voice. All right, Wayne Allen Root, our first night with the new timing and a lot of things to work out, but it's our new show, America Speaks. It's an ongoing thing. Let me kind of explain stuff because we're taping it during the day. We're taping it at 6 p.m. East Coast time, 3 p.m. Pacific, and it airs at midnight East Coast time on RAV, which is 9 p.m. Pacific. And you can call in while we're taping, and we take your calls, and then you can watch it that night. It's very hard to explain all this. I don't know how to explain it, but that's all going to change in a couple of days because this show will be a YouTube show and a Rumble show at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And then it becomes a Rav show at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, and you could watch the show that you were watching at 6 p.m. live and calling in at 6 p.m. Eastern live. And then it all makes sense. But it's going to take a couple of days for us to get it up on Rumble and YouTube every day live. So probably by Wednesday, we'll be live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And America Speaks with Wayne Allyn Root becomes a Rumble and YouTube show and then becomes a Rav show that night. So now it all makes sense once we can get YouTube up and Rumble up. Then everything makes sense. Then it's fantastic. Then the timing's good. Life is good. But in the meantime, we're looking for calls right now. And while you're watching this tonight at midnight, the show has been taped already. So you can't call. You got to call the next day at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. No, the show won't be on, but you can call and speak to me live while we're taping, and then you'll watch it Tuesday night. Get it? So tonight's show may have very few calls. It may be me reacting and responding to the news, like my old Root Reaction show here on Rav, reading off the news and responding to it, reacting to it. And then tomorrow night, just make sure you call in the hour, 6 p.m. hour, East Coast time, 3 p.m. Pacific, and then watch it that night and see yourself on TV talking about issues with Wayne Allyn Root. Does that make sense? I hope so. The phone number to call in, 631-309-2225. 631-309-2225 is the call-in number. That also is complicated, right? It's a hard number to remember, but that's because we're inputting with the phone company my root number, my toll-free root number, with our new phone system, which should be ready on Wednesday. So until Wednesday, a lot of things are complicated, but we'll get it down, and this week will be a great week. By the end of the week, we'll have this thing down. It'll be a great show. All right. So what are the big news stories in America? Number one has got to be Los Angeles, right? Los Angeles. A rigged election in L.A., and I keep saying this and saying this and saying this till I'm blue in the face. But the reality is that they're shameless. They have no shame. The Democrat Party is a communist party. Communists throughout history have rigged elections and stolen elections. And throughout history, once they get in office, you cannot stop them. You can't ever get them out. It's going to be 50 years till you get them out, if you ever get them out, because the only way to get them out is with a war. And the United States isn't very good with civil wars, right? We don't want to kill people in the streets. Nobody wants that. Democrats do, by the way. I'll prove to you during the show they do. It's going on all over America. They hate us. But no one on our side wants a civil war. But I don't know how to break this to you. There is no way to get communists out of office once they're in office other than wars. Why? Because they rig the system. And they're so shameless in a one-party state like California that they've rigged the system and stolen the election in L.A. from Spencer Pratt right in front of you. And they're stealing it right now from Steve Hilton, too. But I think he's so far ahead, he'll probably make the runoff, but he'll never win in the general election. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. He won't win in the general election, and Steve Pratt is now out of the runoff. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. Why is that? Because they never could have let him win. It was never in the cards. Neither one could be allowed to win. Not Spencer Pratt in L.A., not Steve Hilton in California as governor. Why? Because Democrats are thieves. They not only steal and rig elections, they steal all your money. And so in a one-party state, one-party communist socialist state like the People's Republic of California, which is literally, they've literally stolen the state. It doesn't even belong to the United States anymore. And so it doesn't matter how many conservatives vote, how many people turn towards the right. You can't win when it's rigged. That's what Stalin said, right? Doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the votes. And so they can't let conservatives ever win. Why? Because if one Republican conservative won, like Spencer Pratt in L.A., or Steve Hilton for the governorship of California, you let one Republican win, and suddenly they can open investigations and everybody's going to jail. Suddenly they look under the hood and they see all the theft, all the stolen money in California. The taxpayers have been looted. It's been stolen by the Democrat politicians. It's been stolen by the Democrat donors. It's been stolen in government contracts like the railway to nowhere, right? The train to nowhere. They didn't even lay a track. And they spent, $200 billion? Some crazy number. Insane number. Where'd the money go? Who's got it? Who stole it? It's certainly not there anymore. So where is it? And the money they've spent on illegal aliens, oh my gosh. Do you realize the reason your city burned, the reason Pac Palisades burned, the reason my old town of Malibu, I lived there for 13 years, the reason Malibu burned is because they spend all their money on illegals and the rest of it they steal. So they leave nothing for brush clearance and nothing for water and nothing for the fire department. And they don't even fill the water tanks. So there's no water when there's a fire. This is all insanity, folks. Insanity. And then you think they're voting for it? You really believe that? You believe people are voting for more of the insanity? More of the stolen elections, more of the stolen money, more of reservoirs or water tanks with no water in them? And firemen with hoses with no water coming out? Do you actually believe that's what people are voting for? Even though you saw Spencer Pratt clearly make the two-person runoff on election night, and you saw Steve Hilton clearly make it on election night, and now Spencer Pratt is pretty much done, and he will not be in the runoff. It's between a communist and a socialist in L.A. for mayor. And for the state, I'm guessing Hilton will probably be in the runoff because he's so far ahead in second place that I don't think Tom Steyer can catch him. But yet, I sound like an idiot, right? Because look at Pratt. He was so far ahead that the other gal, what is it, Raman, couldn't catch him either, and she caught him. So maybe Hilton's dead too. DOA, dead on arrival, his political career. I don't know. But if he is in the running and he does make the runoff, he will not win in November. Steve Hilton's an absolute lock loser because they will never let him win because then he'd see what really happened and he could put Gavin Newsom in prison for life. He could put all the Democrats who work for Gavin Newsom in prison for life. If Spencer Pratt had won, he could have put, what's her name, Karen Bass in prison for life and all her employees, her staffers in prison for life. You've been looted, man. Your nation is a mess. And yes, California is not a part of America anymore. It's its own nation. Matter of fact, you could say California, Oregon, Washington are one big socialist nation on the left coast. And on the East Coast, it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island is its own Northeast communist nation. And in between, everything's red. And everything's run well, and nobody steals everybody's money. Not that there aren't Republican thieves, because there are. But not to the extent of what goes on. First of all, the only way you could possibly steal everyone's money is if the media is on your side. The media is never on the side of the Republican Party. So we can't steal like that. We can't loot. You know, remember during, Black Lives Matter in 2020? You remember the rioting? You remember the looting? They ran out of stores and they picked the stores clean of everything. That's what Democrats do to all your tax money. Republicans can't do that. The media's watching. They catch us doing anything, we go to jail. They catch us doing anything, we get kicked out of office. The Democrat Party, it's a total blackout. They show you nothing. There's no media investigating the Democrats. Matter of fact, the media is not saying a word that they're passing the Nick Shirley Act. Do you know what the Nick Shirley Act is? The Nick Shirley Act is so simple. It means that no investigative journalist is allowed to look under the hood. If you find fraud, they're going to throw you in jail. So nobody's going to take that chance. Nobody. Impossible. So rigged election buries Spencer Pratt in latest ballot dump. Democrat Nithya Raman projected to win. Karen Bass already advancing, right? The top two candidates will advance. And Raman gained over 19,000 votes in the latest dump. Bass gained 16,000. Pratt only 8,000. 80% of the batch went to Democrats. And there's 146,000 votes, ballots left to count. And instead of being up by 20, 30,000 over Raman, Pratt is now down by 3,000. And let's face it, these are the rigged mail-in ballots that California allows. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Everything that's left to be counted is going to be Democrat ballots because they allow anyone with a gym membership to register to vote. How do you know I'm not registering with my gym membership, my driver's license, my gas bill, my electric bill? I got 5 votes, and every one of those votes is Democrat, 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 Democrat. This is how they scam the election. And don't forget illegal aliens. They've just stolen an election in the biggest state in America right in front of all of us. No shame. They know we're watching. They don't care. It's a joke. Mail-in ballots without voter ID are a joke. And California just proved it. It's a communist captured state. That's the big news of the day. We got lots more to come on this show, America Speaks. Let me mention the sponsor of the show. The sponsor of the show is Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, the golden age of Trump prosperity, all about making America the energy capital of the world. Enter Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, headed by oil and gas legend Mark Bruner, whose companies have created more than $15 billion in shareholder value. At its peak, his company, Pinnacle Energy, grew about 100 to 1 for investors. Ultra Petroleum soared 1,000 to 1. A $10,000 investment turned into $13 million over 10 years. But Lost Soldier could be much bigger than Ultra Petroleum, with what could be the largest gas discovery in the United States in 100 years. It's a 40,000-acre territory in Wyoming that took 40 years to piece together. The first 4,000 feet drilled so far, estimated to contain up to 6 trillion cubic feet of gas. Management forecasting projects the first 25 wells to produce 400 million cubic feet per day of natural gas, and by 2035, targeted production of over 1 billion cubic feet per day. The surge in AI data centers is placing soaring demand on energy resources. This is how we power the AI future of America with inexpensive, clean natural gas. To learn more about Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, just go to lostsoldier.com, fill out the contact form. That's lostsoldier.com. Let me remind you, for tomorrow, because as we tape, it'll be too late for you to call today, but tomorrow, call in at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. The call-in number is 631-309-2225, 631-309-2225. I'm Wayne Allyn Root. This is America Speaks. Wayne Allyn Root here with John Jubilee, owner and founder of the Energized Health program. When I joined Energized Health 6 years ago, it changed my life. Since then, John has been a regular guest on all my shows, sharing their breakthrough science of intracellular hydration. John, your program changed my life, and more importantly for me, expanded my career, and it became really just, it reversed aged me. It became my fountain of youth. And many people are now using your program along with the GLP-1s, the weight loss drugs, Ozempic, Mounjaro, and all of them. Explain how Energized Health is working alongside these weight loss drugs, a perfect synergy.
Well, how we do that, Wayne, is weight loss is one thing, but with every weight loss drug that there is, all the families of weight loss drugs, they also come with the weight loss of our healthy lean muscle and our healthy hydration, which is the weight we don't want to lose, right? We don't want to lose that and get sarcopenia or osteoporosis. So at Energized Health, we guarantee you will gain your hydration and you will gain your lean, healthy muscle mass while you're losing your visceral and subcutaneous fat. That's why it's kind of the match made in heaven, Wayne, that they don't get the two negatives that come with the GLP-1s.
Perfect synergy. Energized Health's protocol targets the root cause of many ailments and diseases and helps people get off their medications and lose their fat fast. Explain.
Yeah, well, all of medical science is trained to go after the symptom. So here's a symptom, here's a drug. Here's a symptom, here's a drug. At Energized Health, we don't look at the symptom. We look at the root cause. The root cause of 99.9% every illness and disease, one thing is inflammation. And just like when you walk into a room and turn a light on, darkness cannot exist. When you put intracellular hydration in a human body, inflammation cannot exist. And so that's why we reverse thousands of illnesses and diseases with our breakthrough patent pending science of intracellular hydration.
All right. It's a great program. It's an amazing program. It changed my life. I'm Exhibit A. Thank you, John. I've got a new TV show thanks to you. I'm being 65 years old. I'm turning 65 years old this July, and I got a new TV show unheard of in the annals of TV history. You get 40% off and go on the same journey as me when you go to EnergizedHealth.com and just say WAR when you speak to them for Wayne Allyn Root. 40% off, and you go on the same journey. I hope it anti-ages you. I hope it's your fountain of youth. God bless all of you. EnergizedHealth.com, promo code WAR. Root, the Root's on fire. This is the mainstream media. No mainstream media. All they do is lie and cheat and rig and propaganda and gaslight you. This is the mainstream media. We tell you raw truth on the biggest MAGA mouth in the world. My website, rootforamerica.com. And you can email me anytime, wayneroot@gmail.com. That's another simple way to do this, by the way. I think it's so confusing at this moment until we get our YouTube and Rumble shows going live. It's so confusing to tell you to call in at a different time than the actual show is on. You know what's easy? Just email me, wayneroot@gmail.com, with your comments or questions, and I'll read them live on the air. I've got a stack of hundreds here from the last few days of everybody people always try and contact me for my top 10 show, but now that you know about America Speaks, it's doubled and tripled. So contact me, wayneroot@gmail, and I'll read your letters on the air and comment on them. Okay, just tell me your first name and the city you're from and the state you're from. You know, Bill from Laramie, Wyoming. Mary from Little Rock, Arkansas. That's all you have to say. And I'll read your comments and opinions on the line. So speak out at America Speaks. And call in. Call-in number is 631-309-2225. 631-309-2225. Every day at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, live. So you're going, I don't get it. The show airs at midnight. Yes, but we tape it live at 6 p.m. And soon it's going to be a 6 p.m. show on YouTube and Rumble this week. And so you'll be able to watch it and call in live and then watch the show at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on RAV. But right now it's kind of complicated. All right, let's take Obi from Virginia right now to talk about the midterms. Obi, you're on with Wayne Allyn Root. How are you?
Hey, I'm
Obi,
good.
are you there?
Congratulations.
Obi, are you
can you hear
there?
me?
Just
Hey,
barely.
can you
You
hear
are on
me?
speaker. You're on speaker, I believe. Get off the speaker and get on the regular phone, please. Obi's gone. All right, get rid of Obi. Obi doesn't know how to make a phone call. Obi, you got to talk on a real phone, not on a speaker phone. So much static, nobody can hear you on a speaker phone on TV, right? Or you had your TV on, one or the other. One of those two reasons. All right, so here's the deal. The news of the day today. I opened up the whole first segment of the show. We call it the A Block, talking about what's going on in Los Angeles and California as a whole. The rigged election. They're stealing elections. And I said this on my top 10 show, and I'm going to say it again on this show. It's very easy to see you stealing a show. What if you were in a college classroom and your college professor said, I want to make an announcement, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make an announcement. I've just put new rules in place that will make it impossible to cheat on your exams. No one's going to ever be able to cheat in my class again. And at that moment, 1/3 of the class stood up and started throwing chairs and knocking their desk over and picking up their desk and breaking the windows and throwing the furniture out the windows and screaming at the professor, I'm going to kick your ass, and throwing pens at his face and hoping they take his eyes out. Would you not immediately know that that third of the class was stealing? Literally was rigging and stealing and cheating on exams? Wouldn't you know that? Would anyone doubt that that reaction was because of that? No, nobody would doubt that. That's how you know elections are being stolen. When Trump tries to make elections safer, fairer, more integrity, make sure you can't cheat and steal and rig, what's the reaction of Democrats? It's throwing chairs out windows, throwing furniture out windows, throwing chairs at the teacher. It's throwing pens at the teacher. It's freaking out at the simple idea of voter ID. One vote, one person, one vote. Every person can vote, but every person can only vote once. And you can't cheat. You can't have 500 people or 1,500 people living at one gas station where they all get ballots. You can't have one apartment with 3,000 people get ballots. And when you eliminate that, guess what happens? Democrats can't win elections. Their entire being is about stealing elections. That's all Democrats know how to do, is steal elections. They don't have to do anything else. So they know that they can never regain power, or in the case of California, they're never going to lose. So they don't have to worry about regaining power if they allow elections to have integrity. If they allow the fact that you can't steal and rig and cheat anymore, then they can't win anymore. And therefore, they lose their grip on power in California, and they never get power again in red states. And they don't want that, so they want cheating and stealing. So they argue about such minor things like voter ID, photo ID, proof of citizenship, not counting ballots past election day, voting on one day, election day, voting with paper ballots. These are all simple measures, but they can't win if we implement these measures because they only win by cheating. And I've always argued they only win by cheating by counting the votes on election night, seeing how far they're behind, and then manufacturing enough fake ballots in the next 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long it takes to win. In California, it could take weeks to count all the ballots in the gubernatorial race with Steve Hilton. It's already over in LA. Spencer Pratt is gone. If you don't understand that, you don't even understand what's happening. He's finished. But Steve Hilton, I don't know yet. He might make the runoff. He might not. I think he probably will. But they'll never allow him to get elected. Like I said in the A block, he won't get elected because it's simple. They can't let a Republican look under the hood. He'd see all the theft and everyone would go to jail from Newsom on down. So Trump goes off on rigged California election. He says, not possible. Third world nation, rigged elections, just what I'm arguing. The proof is simple, right? No Republican has ever been behind, in my knowledge, to my knowledge, in the history of America, no Republican has ever lost on election night and then won 5 days later, 6 days later, a week later, or 2 weeks later. Only Democrats are behind on election night and then they win 2 weeks later. No Republican's ever done that. Doesn't that tell you it's all fraud? Because how could it be 100-0 or 200-0 across this country? Every single person that wins after election night, days later, is a Democrat. How's that possible? Republicans are always leading on the election night, and they always lose 5 days later. How is that possible? So Spencer Pratt calls out glaring coincidence in Nithya Raman's 43,000 vote swing 5 days after Election Day. He says, where have I seen that number before? And I thought what Spencer, without reading the article, I thought what Spencer Pratt meant was, where have I seen that number, that kind of number before? That was the 2020 election. Trump was up by, 300,000 votes in Michigan, 100,000 votes in Wisconsin, 100,000 votes in Georgia, I think 800,000 votes in Pennsylvania. And suddenly all those leads were gone overnight when there were drops of 100,000 to 0 and 200,000 to 0 and 40,000 to 0. I assume that's what Spencer Pratt meant. But that's not what Spencer Pratt meant. He meant that there were exactly 43,000 homeless people living on the streets of Los Angeles. That's how there was a drop of 43,000 and he got 0. Because 43,000 homeless people voted, all probably in one single mission, downtown homeless mission. I mean, we got a problem that's beyond belief. Nick Shirley, who's our investigator, right, who's like a bloodhound. He's like my dog, Bubba. I take Bubba for a walk and his nose is on the ground. It's like, and he's jumping from side to side and he smells this, he smells that, and he's going crazy. Nick Shirley is like a human bloodhound, a great investigative journalist in the mode of James O'Keefe. And Nick Shirley tracks down a 126-year-old California voter, and we know there's no one in the United States that's 126 years old. A 126-year-old California voter with a record of voting in 51 elections. And what he found raises serious questions about the state voter rolls. And this is the Democrat Party's idea about secure elections. Okay? So, meet Doris. She lives in California. According to the California Secretary of State's own voter rolls, she's 126 years old and has cast ballots in 51 elections. There's just one small problem. She's not 126 years old. She was born in 1940. That makes her roughly 86 years old. She's never voted in 51 elections. And when Nick Shirley showed up at her door to ask about it, she was stunned. They went to the address on the voter rolls, and she said, yeah, I'm Doris. And it says you're 126 years old. She says, I'm not 126 years old. You have the wrong house. And he says, but it's not the wrong house. She says, I'm Doris. That's the wrong information. So you got to understand all of this is fraud. Everything is fraud. The feds announce multiple election fraud investigations in California while revealing serious structural vulnerabilities. You know, I'm an SOB, son of a butcher. I'm a simple blue-collar guy. That's a fancy way of saying we are screwed. The elections are complete fraud. They've got it all gamed. They've got it all rigged in blue states and some of these battleground states too. And we better get it fixed before November. I'm Wayne Allyn Root. This is America Speaks.
We're living through a monetary crime scene, and your IRA or 401k is a key victim. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. In 1971, gold was $35 an ounce. After the dollar was cut loose from it, inflation soared. And just 9 years later, gold hit $850. People who diversified into precious metals survived and thrived. Today, we're in a worse position because we face inflation and massive debt, and every solution to one problem inflames the other. Fortunately, gold is still an option. My trusted friends at Birch Gold Group can help you own gold inside your retirement account. Start now by getting a free info kit on gold. We're facing the same monetary chaos as the 70s with significantly more debt. Don't wait. Get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger. This is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
All right, we are back. Wayne Allyn Root. This is America Speaks. I'm known as War. I'm your Secretary of War. This is the Wayne Stream Media, and I'm the biggest MAGA mouth in the world. Great to be with you. Very proud to be the biggest MAGA mouth in the world. All right, this segment of the show, sponsored by VRA, Vertical Research Advisory. After 15 years on Wall Street at the highest levels, in 2003, Kip Herriage founded VRA, his global investment and economic newsletter. Since then, his top-performing recommendations have beaten the markets almost 90% of the time, 19 out of 22 years. I don't believe there's another record like that on Wall Street. And that's not just beating the market, by the way, often beating the market by a mile. His top recommendations are called 10-baggers. They were up 35% last year, 38% average up over the last 3 years, and I mean each of the last 3 years. Up 38%. Not only the most incredible record, but the most incredible consistency. Meanwhile, Barron's reports the average Wall Street money manager loses the market 90% of the time. Kip's been a close friend all these years. I've seen his incredible results firsthand. He's got a crystal ball. He's the Nostradamus of Wall Street and my personal financial advisor. I've followed Kip's newsletter and investment recommendations every morning for more than 20 years. I'm a witness. He recommended gold at $350 an ounce And Bitcoin at 2,000 is really that good. In case you don't know, gold is, what is gold now? About 43.60 or 80, something like that. And Bitcoin is about 62,000. Facts matter. The fact is the VRA portfolio beats the market in good and bad years. When the market's up, it goes up. When the market's down, it goes up. When the economy's good, it goes up. When the economy's bad, it goes up. Let Kip prove it to you for free. Just for my fans. Kip is offering his daily VRA investment letter completely free for 2 weeks. Join now at VRAinsider.com. You'll also get his best-selling book, The Big Bribe, for free as well. Get your free 2-week membership at VRAinsider.com, the place where red-pilled patriots go for their investment advice, VRAinsider.com. All right, let's take a couple of voicemails, and I want to remind everybody that it's very simple for you to contact me and then hear yourself on this show every day. Just leave a voicemail with your comments and your opinions. You leave the voicemail at 631-309-2225, and that's any time of the day. 631 area code 309-2225. Leave a voicemail, and we will read it, and I'll react to it on the air tomorrow. You can also email me anytime, wayneroot@gmail.com, and I will read your email and also comment on it on tomorrow's show. Get it? So there's 2 easy ways to contact me. Then the third way is to call live. What you're watching right now is taped, and it airs at midnight on RAV, midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, but we tape it at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can call in that number at 6 p.m. Eastern, 631-309-2225, and I will take your call live on the air. In the meantime, we have a couple of voicemails. Let's take Ron right now.
Yeah, this is Ron from Auburn Washington. I was trying to get through. Was hoping maybe you could reach out to President Donald and see if he can get us a stimulus check because the gas is so high and food's so high. My friend was even fighting with his wife because of gas prices. And he said, well, Trump said, drill, baby, drill. But, you know, maybe you can reach out. We can get a stimulus check. That would ease some of the pain out here. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ron. I couldn't hear where Ron was from. I could not get the name. I heard Ron very clearly. I did not hear the city. But I agree with you, Ron. I agree, and I've said this on my Top 10 show. I've said it on my daily podcast. I think President Trump needs to get a stimulus check in the hands of the American people before the election, preferably sooner rather than later, you know, July, August, maybe long before the fall. But again, I don't think he can do that. Correct me if I'm wrong, without Congress, right? I think you have to have Congress's approval to give a stimulus check. Someone's got to vote for that. And I don't know if Trump can count on anyone's vote anymore in Congress. It's clear every Democrat is a teammate of each other, and they all back each other. They stand behind each other 100% against Trump, even if it kills the Iran war, if it kills our economy. They don't care. They'll do anything to block Trump's success, including sink America. But the Republicans, maybe 60% are behind Trump and 40% are not, and they stab him in the back at every opportunity they've got. So it's really a very difficult situation. I don't know if we can get that passed, but I agree. The American people need a stimulus check. Maybe you call it a tariff bonus check, but no matter what you call it, they're hurting because of gas prices and grocery prices. And you know what's even worse than that? Insurance prices. Health insurance, car insurance, home insurance through the roof. Nothing to do with President Trump. You can't blame him. Blame the insurance companies. Blame climate change. All their stupid climate change lies. They've created so many lies that have enabled or given justification and excuse for insurance companies to raise your home insurance rates because your home won't be there in 100 years. The sea is rising because hurricanes are getting worse. Tornadoes are getting worse. Everything is based on climate change modeling that's all based on fraud and gaslighting created by Democrats with no basis in reality. Now you say, is Wayne Root saying that? No, the United Nations just admitted that. It's all fraud, 100% fraud, climate change. They're just guessing. It's like they're picking their nose and flicking it in the air. And wherever it blows, it blows. They make it up off the top of their head. They have no idea if your house is going to not be there in 100 years. They have no idea if the earth is really warming or cooling and whether or not that will affect your shoreline or more hurricanes. It's all ridiculous. Let's take a voicemail from Jeff in California. Jeff, you're on the line.
Yeah, they need to get rid of Senator Thune and put in a different person that'll put him in recess so Trump can get someone through on the recess appointment. And that's the way he can get it done. My name is Jeff Ganzen from Oak Hills, California. Thank you.
Oak Hills, California. Thanks, Jeff. So again, I said this on last week's show. I came up with this idea for America Speaks because I think all the wisdom comes from average Americans who don't go to Harvard. And I think you guys are brilliant. I think you're much smarter. I don't know if you're smarter than the average person at Harvard. I know you have more common sense than the average person at Harvard, which makes you, they're more book smart than you maybe, but you're smarter when it comes to figuring out what's going on in the world. So all I could tell you is the people that call in may not sound like they're from Harvard, but they've got better advice than anyone at Harvard. And what Jeff just said is brilliant. He's right. He's 100% right. John Thune is a rat. John Thune is a bum, and they need to replace him. And I know how to replace him, J.D. Vance. He's the vice president of the United States. He's allowed to step in as the Senate Majority Leader, I think, anytime he wants. But if we don't have the votes, maybe he can't do that either. I don't know. I don't know if you have to vote. I guess there has to be a vote from the whole Republican Senate. The Republicans have to vote their own Senate Majority Leader. Maybe it's very hard to knock off the guy who's there now. I don't know. But you got to get rid of Thune. The president should demand it. I saw today he was demanding we fire the Senate parliamentarian. I believe that's how you pronounce the name, parliamentarian, who said he couldn't do things that it's common sense is you can do. But it's a liberal appointed by Obama. It's the same as the Obama judges. They're all no good. Every one of them is either a communist or radical nut job or mentally ill or bribed. I'm telling you, a lot of them are bribed. Sure as I'm standing here, it's just common sense. I'll bet you everybody watching agrees with me. They're bribed. It's as simple as that. All right, let's read a couple letters I got. I've got hundreds of them here, so let's find a few of them. Timothy says, "Dear brother Wayne, you keep hitting right over the target, sir. The Cloward-Piven strategy is at the root of dismantling America. Look how the violent opposition to deporting millions of illegals." Sometimes the wording is not perfect, but the idea is perfect. He's saying, take a look at the violent opposition, the anti-ICE opposition. Nobody in their right mind, use common sense, would really be so violently opposed to kicking illegal aliens out of the United States unless they're nuts, or unless they're on the payroll of the Mexican drug cartel, or unless they're paid off by NGOs, or unless they're radical communists who hate this country. Thank you, Timothy. He says, and he says, along with massive election fraud, these two things could effectively end America as we know it. Brother Tim, blessings to you, dear brother. And he's right. I mean, I wrote a commentary last week, and that's what he's referring to, that the entire country is coming down to open borders and illegal immigration, number one, problem number one. Number two, stolen, rigged elections. And number three, Cloward-Piven. That's a strategy we learned at Columbia University with my classmate, me, graduating class of 83 with Barack Hussein Obama as my classmate. All right, so let's see. Paul, hi, Wayne, brilliant as usual. And yes, Jeff Sessions to Pam Bondi. Trump's attorney generals have bombed royally. Once again, when will we see handcuffs? The Republicans are candy asses, and the Democrats fight to win, and they fight dirty. Next time you talk to the president, well, you know how we feel. Thank you, Paul. Okay, Sean, this is a common sense one also. I'll bet if you looked into all of these crazy leftists and out of control kids, they're all taking a pill to be happy, which in fact is making them crazy like drug addicts. Check out the happy pills. And again, the average Harvard person would hear this and go, what are they talking about? Folks, there's so many young people in this country that have lost their minds, that are out there in mass shootings, that are out there trying to kill ICE agents, that are out there screaming, kill the Jews at college campuses of elite universities. And he's saying, is it possible they're all on ADH pills? They're all on anti-stress pills? They're all drugged up. Big Pharma is producing drugs, selling them on TV, and making the American people believe, including young people, that drugs are the answer to all your problems to make you happy. No, they're not. They're not working. They're making people crazy. I think the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, is causing massive violent mood swings and violence and suicide. All kinds of problems. We'll be right back. We're going to a break. I'm Wayne Allen Root. This is America Speaks on Real America's Voice TV. See you in a sec.
The must-see theatrical event of the summer, and just in time for America's 250th birthday, is Young Washington, a brand new movie from our good friends at Angel Studios. This tremendous movie tells the story of George Washington before he was a general or our president. He faced crushing failures, near-death experiences, and pivotal moments that forged his courage and leadership. The film stars Andy Serkis, Kelsey Grammer, and Ben Kingsley, and drops into theaters right on the anniversary of our country's founding. What Angel is offering right now is a premium Angel Guild membership for $15 a month or $135 for an annual membership. And with that membership, you get 2 free tickets to see Young Washington in theaters. You'll have access to Angel's entire streaming library. So how are you celebrating America's 250th birthday? I'd recommend becoming an Angel Guild premium member, which you can do by scanning the QR code on your screen or going to angel.com/wrap. Happy birthday, America.
When you look at your grocery bill, is it so high it knocks you off your feet? It's time to stand up and save with InstaSeal by Bell & Howell, the world's first vertical vacuum sealing system designed to save you money. Unlike ordinary storage bags that trap air in, spoiling your food, InstaSeal removes the air completely, extending freshness up to 6 times longer. Now that's saving. Look, flat sealers create a big mess, but InstaSeal is upright, mess-free, and easy. The secret is Smart Seal technology. With just one touch, it auto-feeds the bag to seal, pauses to vacuum out the air, then continues to perfectly seal. Plus, InstaSeal has a motor powerful enough to crush cans, but smart enough to save crackers from turning to dust. Forget big, bulky sealers you have to put away. InstaSeal's compact design stays to help you seal and save every day. Got a great deal on chicken, meat, or fish? InstaSeal protects it from freezer burn. Now buy groceries in bulk. Make meals ahead of time. InstaSeal and save. It even works with all Universal Storage System bags. Buy on sale meats. InstaSeal and save. When you add it all up, InstaSeal will help you seal and save hundreds on your family's grocery bill. Call or go online now and get the complete InstaSeal system that keeps food fresh 6 times longer with enough storage bags to fill your entire fridge for the special TV discount price of just $99.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. You get it all, an incredible value for one low price. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-308-6802 or go to buyinstaseal.com. So call 1-800-308-6802 or order online at buyinstaseal.com.
All right, Wayne Allen Root, we're back. America Speaks, last segment. We call it the D-Block. Great to be with you. The Root is on fire. Wayne Root at gmail.com. Email me. A couple of ways for you to get through for tomorrow's show. Number 1, email me, WayneRoot at gmail.com. Number 2, call me and leave a voicemail at 631-309-2225. Again, area code 631-309-2225. I knew today's show would be complicated and confusing. So tomorrow will be a whole different show because all of you have a night now to send emails and to leave voicemails. And then tomorrow you can call live at 3 p.m. 6 p.m. East Coast time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. When I'm taping the show, call in and you'll be on live with Wayne Root, and then you watch it at midnight Eastern that night. So there's a bunch of ways to get through, but I knew we needed a day to get all that message across, and here we are. This segment sponsored by Tangible Investments. How important is it to own gold? China's central bank just increased their gold reserves for the 18th month in a row. I think that's a modern all-time record. China is preparing for what's coming. And the question is, are you prepared for what's coming? But buying gold alone is not enough. You need to buy at the right price. And this is where buyers get misled. Other gold companies say we only charge 1% above cost. But whose cost are they talking about? See how easy it is to mislead you? The real question you need to ask is, what are you charging me over spot price? Then compare that answer to Tangible Investments. Now, I've known the guys at Tangible Investments for decades. I'm not kidding, decades. Tangible has been in business for more than 40 years, and I've been friends with these guys for more than 20 years. They've handled more than $2 billion in transactions, and their team brings over 200 combined years of experience. Right now, Tangible Investments is offering gold bullion at just 1% over spot. That's unheard of. And they offer silver as low as 3% over spot. So if you want gold or silver or precious metals, or better yet, rare coins from a real firm with real credibility and honest pricing, right, and products that China has bought for 18 months in a row, all-time record, call Tangible Investments right now. Toll free, 888-330-4351. That's 888-330-4351. Or go to the website they created just for my fans, rootforgold.com. That's rootforgold.com, and tell them War sent you. All right, let me read a few more emails that came in on, well, actually, these were all over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Brian says, my advice to our president, President Trump, please end this dance with Iran now. Suggest you bomb every single highway, railway, bridge in and out of Iran between all neighboring countries to isolate Iran economically and also simultaneously destroy their entire electrical power grid. Wait a week or 10 days for the lack of food, refrigeration, cooking-related nutrition issues to adjust Iranian response and motivations. And then, if they are not sufficiently motivated, destroy all their water distribution systems. So that's interesting, Brian. That's kind of the idea I pitched on the air 3 weeks ago. I said that President Trump should do what we did in Japan in 1945. We didn't bomb every city in Japan with an atomic weapon. We bombed one city, Hiroshima. And we waited for their response. And they still wouldn't give up. So we bombed a second city with a nuclear bomb, an atom bomb, as they called it then, Nagasaki. And then we waited for their response. And then they said, uncle, and they waved the white flag. We agreed to unconditionally surrender, and they did. And we had the ceremony on the boat, on the ship out at sea, and Douglas MacArthur accepted the, the sword from the premier of Japan, and that World War II was over. And I said, don't bomb all their bridges, don't bomb all their railways, don't bomb all their highways, don't bomb all their airports, don't bomb all their military. Bomb a lot of it and then wait. And if they don't respond correctly, bomb again and wait. And then bomb again and wait. And then bomb again and wait. And keep destroying more and more of their country until they cry uncle. Simple as that. So good strategy, Brian. We're kind of in agreement. Just don't do it all at once. Judy says, President must issue a national security emergency for the ballroom to protect government officials and foreign dignitaries. God bless, from Judy in Florida. So all of you know I have pitched a national security emergency for elections. And Jerome Kersey came on my Top 10 show and on my podcast and basically said that he's the one that President Trump has tapped to, to create election integrity and to write up this election national security emergency declaration. And he says it's coming. The president has decided to do it. It's clear now. I was right. I've been arguing for months now that the SAVE Act would never pass. I'm for it. I'm for it. I love it. I want it. But I kept arguing it would never pass. We don't have the votes in the Senate. And even if we did have 51 votes, you have to do a filibuster and get rid of it, kill the filibuster or suspend it in order to pass something with 51 votes. And if you don't do that, then you need 60 votes. We don't even have 51, let alone 60. So you were never going to get the SAVE Act. And if you got the SAVE Act, it would be immediately taken to court by the Democrats and their fancy high-priced lawyers, and it'll be tied up in court till well past the election. So the SAVE Act will not save the midterms. What can and will save the midterms? Well, number one is the Supreme Court decision to get rid of gerrymandered minority districts, which might get us as many as 10 new Republican seats between now and November, and maybe another 10 for the 2028 election, 20 in total. That's a 40-seat turnaround in the U.S. House. That's 40 seats, 20 that used to belong to all black districts that meant all Democrats, and now they'll belong to Republicans. 20, take 20 away from them and add 20 to us. That's plus 40. If you win every one of them, that's plus 40. If you don't, maybe it's plus 30 or 35. We will not lose the House for years to come because of that. If enough states change their gerrymandered districts, a lot of them are chickening out before 2026 midterms. Okay, they may do it by 2028. I think they've all agreed they're doing it before the next election, but not for 2026. Many of the Republican governors have opted not to do it. That's a big mistake. But I think we're going to get 9 or 10 seats anyway, not 20, but 9 or 10. That will help a lot. But the national security emergency for elections will really make a big, big difference. That can change everything. It's the America Act, or I should say the Save America Act on steroids, Trump style. I wrote a commentary. That's what I called it. It's the Save America Act, Trump style on steroids, because it's got all the same things as the Save Act, except stronger and additional ones the Save Act didn't have, like paper ballots. Save Act never mentions paper ballots. That's a huge issue. Okay, they're hacking the machines, right? Foreign governments are hacking the machines and stealing elections. And maybe it's happening inside the United States as well, not just outside the United States. So that national security emergency is very important. She mentioned a national security emergency, Judy did, for the ballroom. And I agree with that too, okay? Because President Trump could get assassinated like that guy tried to do to him at the National Correspondents' Dinner, right? Here is Howard about California elections. He says, your new America Speaks show is great. I'm impressed at how you've handled the technical issues in the first 2 episodes with grace and a smile. I tried. I always enjoy any two-way conversation between celebrities and everyday people. Thank you for giving us a voice. In yesterday's shows, you praised the efforts of Steve Hilton and Spencer Pratt. I believe you said in the end they will not be elected to their respective offices. I presume your comment was based on all the California election shenanigans. I was disheartened to hear that. Well, I'll tell you what, Howard. I tell the truth on this show. I call it the Wayne Stream media. I don't lie to you. I don't BS you. The truth is, we were never going to win in California. You got your hopes up for nothing. We just weren't going to win. It's that simple. Because the elections are stolen and rigged. It's that simple. So I tell you the truth, whether you like to hear it or not. And I was right. Here's Scott. Scott says, I have an idea. I'd love to see a fund for reward for information leading to arrests of those people leaving boxes of ticks on farms and fields. Putting out boxes of Lone Star ticks is bio-warfare. It's meat allergy, and boy, getting bit by those ticks would really suck. Scott, that's another issue that's going on in the United States of America. There are ticks out there that if they bite you, there's a real story. It's not a horror story. It's not a made-up story. It's not gaslighting. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a real story. There are ticks in the United States now that bite you and you no longer can eat meat for the rest of your life. You hate meat. You violently throw up when you eat meat. The tick is responsible for some sort of change in your DNA, and you can never eat meat again. You can never eat meat, chicken, pork. I don't even think fish. You have to eat vegetarian the rest of your life. It sounds like a joke, but it's happened to literally hundreds of people. And soon that could be thousands, and eventually it could be millions. And they caught a couple of scientists who were working in a laboratory to develop that tick and to spread it in large numbers across the United States. Scary, scary stuff, just like the chemtrails. They deny it's going on, and you and I know it's happening every single day. All I do is I get up in Vegas, I walk outside, I look up, and it's blue and it's beautiful. That's at 7 in the morning. I look up at 8, it's blue and it's beautiful. I look up at 9, it's blue and it's beautiful. There's not a cloud in the sky. At 11 o'clock, I see 20 planes going back and forth with white stuff coming out of the plane, and the entire sky is clouded with white stuff. We know there's chemtrails. We know they're dropping aluminum and barium and mercury and all kinds of poisons on us. Why is the question? And who's doing it and who's paying for it? And why can't our government, led by wonderful President Trump, stop it? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I know the last thing I'll say as we close the show tonight, Zero tolerance. Good news from Trump. The DOJ seeks to strip citizenship from 17 migrant criminals, including Indian H-1B fraudster. We're trying to take criminals who are here in this country and have legal citizenship and take away their citizenship and deport them and get them out of the country. Thank God for President Trump for little victories. I'm Wayne Root. Tomorrow night, another episode of America Speaks. God bless you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
One in 4 kids grows up without a father. That's not just a bland statistic. It's a national crisis. I'm John Popola, host of Dad Saves America and CEO of Emergent Order Foundation. I like to say we're what it would look like if Warner Brothers and PBS had a baby that actually loved America. We're building a movement that defends the family and calls men to step up, not check out. Visit dsa-rav.com today to take a stand for fatherhood and the American family.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions. You have events you want to go to. You want to look years younger. This is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Breaking news this morning, President Trump just wrote, Israel and Iran must stop shooting. That's what he wrote. But there are signs they've stopped listening, both Iran and Israel. Iran fired missiles at Israel, and overnight Israel fired back. That's despite a report, first in Axios, that the president told the Israeli prime minister not to retaliate. And despite the grandiose claim to the Financial Times that he, Trump, calls all the shots, he did not seem to call this one. Israel says it hit targets in western and central Iran, and Iran state media says an aerial attack hit a petrochemical plant, damaging part of the facility. This morning, Iran says the U.S., quote, bears responsibility for Israel's actions. And as we were coming to air this morning, the president posted again just a few seconds ago that both sides, Israel and Iran, are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. We will see. Of course, the administration also says a ceasefire has been in place since the beginning of April.
This
despite Axios reporting that President Trump urged Netanyahu to hold off on any retaliatory act in a Sunday phone call. That's according to a senior U.S. official and an Israeli source familiar with details of the call. President Trump also told the Financial Times on Sunday that Netanyahu had no choice but to accept a deal with Iran, saying, quote, "I call the shots. He doesn't call the shots."
This was probably a couple of hours after Iran had launched this salvo of ballistic missiles at Israel. And I think he had just spoken to Netanyahu when I called him. And he was very insistent that he calls the shots. Trump calls the shots, not Netanyahu. That this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. Although, of course, it was, as you've said, it was the first breach of the ceasefires on this scale since April the 8th, since the ceasefire began. And he insisted that the deal, it would have no impact on the Iran deal. Now, shortly after that, Israel struck Iran. So whether Trump's call with Netanyahu had agreed that the Israeli strike would be limited, it would be mostly theatrical, and that it wouldn't go for decapitation, it wouldn't go for political leadership, and that was what they agreed, or possibly that he spoke to Netanyahu, asked him to do nothing, and Netanyahu said, "Sorry, I have to do something," and went ahead anyway. Either way, I did not get the impression that Trump calls all the shots.
He's doing it this morning. This morning, he is on Truth Social questioning the results of Los Angeles mayor's race because his favorite candidate, Spencer Pratt, has now fallen out of the top two, and therefore won't make the runoff. And Trump is propagating the live election fraud in that race as well.
Good.
Here's an idea. We spend the next 2 or 3 weeks hammering the hell out of every target that matters, including the so-called enriched uranium. 20% or more, I don't really care, whatever it is, and just hit them with everything we've got with those fabulous bombers and bombs. Take out everything we can find in coordination with our Arab and Israeli allies. Identify every IRGC facility we possibly can and level them. Do as much military damage as we possibly can, dual-use damage as we possibly can, and then leave. Rather than giving them money, which to me would be a disaster, and tell the Israelis and tell the Saudis, the UAE, which has been very good, and anybody else in the Arab world, we will provide you with whatever intelligence support, training, military equipment that you need. We will continue to use our posture in the region to defend our forces and our mutual interests. But as far as Iran and Hezbollah go, you go at it. If you want to blow Hezbollah off the face of the earth, then you do it. If you want to blow the Iranian regime off the face of the earth, then you do it. And in addition, what we, the United States, will do finally is arm the people of Iran, as we have, as a country, armed people throughout the world, freedom fighters who want their freedom. And I don't want to hear that the Iranian people don't want their freedom. That is baloney.
Yesterday, Donald Trump continued stumbling over facts, got red-faced, and then he started screaming about how the California elections were being rigged because officials were still counting votes 6 days after the June 2nd election. Now, one would have to assume that the president of the United States is a stupid man to not know that almost all states count votes well beyond a week after Election Day. When Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger was reelected to governor in 2006, the vote count took 30 days, as required by California law. When Republican congressmen get elected in California this November, it will take 30 days to count and certify those votes in their districts. Donald Trump knows this, but his howling protests toward Kristen Welker and his insults to her was aimed not at the Meet the Press host or regular viewers, but rather at Americans who don't follow the news or follow specific news sites, that are geared toward him, and will likely only see a clip of his outbursts on social media. And so many will accept Donald Trump's ravings at face value. That's why the media has to up its game going into an election that Mr. Trump desperately, as proven there, wants to undermine and sow distrust. We all must be more aggressive than ever in getting the facts out to viewers and go into every interview armed with facts, but also be ready to fight back and get into those clips. His lies must be met with facts, and lies must be run over and not allowed on decent broadcasts that represent journalism. His insults must be answered with the truth that he does not want to hear. And his cabinet's efforts to blur reality must be knocked down at every turn. The lies and we don't need to light our hair on fire, but we have to protect the truth. The lies and insults toward the free press must be answered. If we fail, we will be no better than the broadcast network and cable channels that act like the Pillow Channel, nothing more than state-run mouthpieces.
I don't know what's going to happen with the weaponization fund. I love the idea because people like you, the fake, dirty press, the crooked press, people like stupid Biden, he's not smart enough to know what's going on, but people that surrounded him, surrounded his beautiful, resolute desk in the Oval Office, what they did to the lives of people, they destroyed people. They sent people to jail who did nothing wrong.
Just to be very clear, there's no evidence of what you're saying, but let me ask you about Todd Blanche.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd
tremendous evidence. There's nothing but evidence. The election was rigged. It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in California.
You've never presented evidence.
It's happening
the
right now in California.
Rigged.
Right now, it's look at what's happening in California.
Where's the evidence to that?
It's
the
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. They're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with.
That's how they count
You know
the
why
votes
they're
in
doing that?
California.
Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
all
that?
I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not evidence.
And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in California.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a winner?
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging
They're
the votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote in
crooked,
California.
just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
really.
Let's
well,
continue.
You play right into their hands.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play right into their hands with this crap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But Mr. President,
you know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about
elections in this country. We're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked network. So let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know. I
I've sat in the
traveled
rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what? A country can never be great with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we
Come on, let's
traveled
go.
all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
Israel, as you know, Jonathan, has a general election this September or early October, which is, as ever, a do-or-die election for Netanyahu. And his platform is really twofold. First, I'm the guy who finally finishes off this regime in Iran. And second, I have got the American president right with me, standing there with me. And both those are now in jeopardy. But from Trump's point of view, Netanyahu, with his operations in southern Lebanon, with the strike yesterday, of course, on that suburb of Beirut, where it believes there's a Hezbollah stronghold, keeps up the fight in Lebanon and keeps jeopardizing Trump's ability to reach agreement with the Iranians, because the Iranians say that a precondition of any deal is that Israel stops attacking Hezbollah. So this leaves President Trump, I think, really a prisoner of other people's actions, including Netanyahu's, well, principally Netanyahu's and the Iranians. But Netanyahu's not in a comfortable place either. He's not going into this election campaign, which he must win, but for his own personal freedom as much as anything else. He's not going into this campaign being able to boast of the things that he thought he was going to be able to boast of when this war began in late February. And of course, as I don't need to remind you, he was instrumental. He was really critical in persuading Trump that this war could be won and could be won quickly.
Officer serving our country. And we have this Pentagon, this report, first in NBC, now in New York Times, the Pentagon saying that Israel may be spying on the U.S. The Israeli embassy to the U.S. is denying it, saying Israel does not gather intelligence on American entities, let alone U.S. government officials. Israel intelligence collection efforts are aimed at its enemies, not its allies. The White House also pushing back, saying this entire story is false and sourced to someone who doesn't have any knowledge of what's going on. But in these reports, this is allegedly coming from a DIA report. What's your take?
Well, yeah, so there's always going to be an official denial of espionage activities from both sides. That's nothing new. But this is also something that I remember back when I served, that when you're dealing with a partner force nation, whether it's Israel, whether it's any country in Asia, when it's anywhere in the world, you're always going to be looking at a situation where if I'm conducting operations, if I'm working on the intel side, if I'm working on that picture, are they looking over my shoulder? Are they trying to figure out what I'm doing in the other room? And in fact, that's obviously the case here. And this was the case with Israel back when I served as well, that there were always questions that they seemed to know more about our operations than we had told them. And there would be times, of course, where people had found evidence directly speaking to these that raised that critical threat in terms of these reports when operations were ongoing. And of course, this comes at a time where President Trump is working hard to create what
Monday, 8 June, year of our Lord 2026. Sobek's going to join us along with Rickards and Bowling and Faddis in this first part to get our heads around what's going on, make sure the audience has a clear path, framework of which to look at all the facts here. Jack Posobiec. So walk me through the timing on this, and that America's greatest ally, President Trump, is now, I guess, not pleading, but, asking very nicely that don't fire back, don't instigate anything. We got to be very tight on this. Of course, he talks to Ed Luce and says, I call the shots. At the same time, on Friday, Thursday and Friday, this House, we're moving for this NDAA that merges the industrial bases of Israel and the United States, so you can't unlock them. Plus, there's efforts to do basically the same thing in the intelligence apparatus. We're going to take a short break, Jack. We'll be back. We're going to cover Los Angeles, some of the races tomorrow, but particularly this war. And ask a question, given what you're seeing in Los Angeles. Who actually runs this country today? Is it you? Is it you, the American citizens? The American citizens call the shots in the United States of America. Jack Posobiec on the other side.
No matter what you drive, there's only one guarantee. It's gonna break down.
I had a sensor light up on my dashboard.
There was a popping noise.
The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
Your next breakdown could be anytime, anywhere, whether you've got the money to fix it or not.
It was a thermostat, $2,600.
Seat sensor, $1,400.
But if you've got endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again, no matter how much it cost them to cover it.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
For Endurance to pay over $7,000 to have my vehicle repaired,
is phenomenal. It was like almost a $6,000 job. If I didn't have Endurance, I would have had to pay for that or just trash the whole car and start again.
If your car's out of warranty, a transmission can easily cost you $4,000.
And an engine? Over $7,000, if you're lucky.
With Endurance, those parts are covered, plus hundreds more.
The bad camera unit, $800 to repair a bad wheel bearing, over $1,000. A new steering rack, close to $3,000. Endurance covered it fully.
From engines to water pumps, electronics to key fobs, Endurance has you covered.
Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
It's a totally seamless process going to any certified mechanic. They submit the claim directly to Endurance. They get paid, and I'm out the door.
You trust us to do the work, and we trust Endurance to pay us direct.
And the best part, your rate stays locked in no matter how many claims you file.
After I made my first claim to Endurance, I expected my rate to change, and it never did. I have no complaints.
Endurance has been trusted by millions of Americans for nearly 2 decades.
I've had 2 claims for over $4,600.
Less than 1 year after signing up, Endurance saved me over $7,000.
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So if your ride breaks down, Endurance has your back. They'll jump your battery, tow, deliver gas, change a flat, unlock your car, and more.
Call now and we'll upgrade you to a full year of Elite benefits free, a $2,000 value.
Endurance just gives me that peace of mind, so I do know that every time I'm on the road, I'm covered.
So, who's going to pay for your next breakdown? You?
Or Endurance.
Endurance saves drivers thousands, and now you can save even more. Right now, you can get $300 off any plan, plus a year of Elite benefits, a $2,000 value free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now.
Remember, out of warranty doesn't mean out of options. Call Endurance and see how much you can save.
Call 1-833-818-4144 for a free quote. That's 1-833-818-4144.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
I hope what happened over the weekend in Iran and with Israel, coupled with what happened in Los Angeles, is a wake-up call. The one thing about Spencer Pratt, I say, is very Trumpian. What he was doing was a very Trumpian campaign. But one thing they never mentioned and never talked about was the big steal. Because remember, he's not MAGA. He goes out of his way to say he's not MAGA. And one of the underlying core principles of MAGA is these stolen elections. In LA, he got welcomed to the National Football League. They stole it in broad daylight. This will look at the President of the United States. And the President of the United States, you understand, that was taped, I think, on Friday and was in Wisconsin talking to the farmers. Doesn't even include last night. Anybody in America, and particularly establishment Republicans, just see, this is the way the Democrats roll. What have I said? What is the mantra here? If they can't steal it, they can't win. Hey, you know who knows that very well? The Democrats. And they don't care. That thing in LA is so in your grill. Jack Posobiec. Also, what's happening I'm going to get to your thing on Fox, and I want to thank Trace Gallagher for being bold enough to go there. We'll get to that in a second. And Brian Kilmeade, we got a response. Brian Kilmeade doesn't think Jack's with the program, but we'll get to all that. So what's happened over the weekend, right? I thought America's Greatest Ally. Of course, I call him a protectorate. Oh, Fox and Friends, even better.
And, yeah.
Griff Jenkins. Wow. Whoa, Fox and Friends. I thought that was your late night hit with Trace Gallagher. Fox
this is what I want to explain.
Yeah, the biggest pom-poms.
Early...
They're Israel first. Yep, go ahead.
This was the early show, and that's why when we got into some of those comments, Israel and Iran had yet to have their missile exchange, and that's why it didn't come up at all. So that was about, we taped that about 6 a.m, and then come throughout the day, you have this series of attacks. So Hezbollah launches some rockets into northern Israel. Israel then takes that as a provocation. They respond with a massive salvo into the southern suburbs of Beirut. They're hitting, what they say is Hezbollah strongholds, but then also, you get these videos out as is typical, where it seems as though there are a lot of people who are being hit that don't look a lot like Hezbollah. In addition, I'm sure, to the direct targets. Then what happened that was quite significant is that Iran attacked Israel in, as they say, in defense of Lebanon yesterday. And that changes the calculus, because this has not happened before. What's happened here is that this is the axis of resistance now taking form, and Iran showing, number one, showing that they still have ballistic missile capability, which by my count, there were at least 4 salvos that they fired at targets like Tel Aviv, like Haifa, and others, Jerusalem last night.
So Jack, hang on.
And
But Jack, hang on. But hang on. You
still
don't have.
exists.
You can't have. The ballistic missile capabilities have been totally wiped out. I've been told that time and time and time again. We watch all this stuff and cut it. It couldn't have been a ballistic missile assault. They've all been destroyed, sir.
Well, then perhaps Iron Dome was firing at Phantoms last night, Steve, but they seem to find quite a few of the boosters and quite a few of the warheads that were able to make it through. Some were shot down and intercepted, and these were not drones. These were ballistic missiles that were fired through the air. And this really, by the way, Steve, speaks to Iran's capability of deception and their capability of hiding how much of their production is out there. And I don't fault DIA at all when they go and do the bean counting of their order of battle in Iran, whether it comes to missiles or whether it comes to drones. The problem is that we just don't have the sources deep within those bunkers, the ability to penetrate, to know exactly what's going on in those underground missile cities.
Tell the audience once again, hit rewind, why this is so important, of why they hit Israel after Israel launched into Lebanon against Hezbollah and obviously other targets there. Why is that another game changer? This is the strategic equivalent of shifting the center of gravity of the battle to the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, is it not?
Well, Steve, what they've done, and just to carry out the story, so then Israel responds with strikes on Tehran, strikes on this petrochemical facility, which they say was tied to the ballistic missile program, tied to IRGC, and then, interestingly enough, Iran announced after that they were going back to the ceasefire. They would not be following up with further attacks. So that's where things stand as of right now. President Trump has a truth up saying that he believes that both sides do want to abide by the ceasefire. But here's what's key. What Iran is doing now is they are extending the fight. They're changing the shape of the battlefield. They're moving the borders further. So they're saying if Israel comes in to southern Lebanon, they are going to respond to Israel. The Houthis have come out and said that they would be prepared to perhaps close the Red Sea yet again if this continues. And so they want to come up with their ballistic missile capability. Also, the Houthis, potential strikes on, there's some reports that the Houthis were conducting strikes on Saudi Arabia as well, although that is yet to be completely confirmed as of right now. And so what you're seeing, Steve, is this axis of resistance has not gone away. The Iranians, the Houthis do still have these capabilities. What percentage, what is left? Is it a fourth left? Is it a fifth left? 20%, 25%, 30%? It's somewhere in that range, but it's hard to say exactly what's going on. There's also these reports that they may have been backfilled by China. They may have been backfilled by other elements of their allies. And again, what they have in these underground bunkers that are extensive. There are tunnels, networks all throughout Iran, all throughout those mountain ranges that they have there, these massive mountain ranges that are very deep underground, very hard to penetrate, very hard to attack. You can close some of the covers to them. Certainly that was done at the nuclear facilities, but we just don't have the ability to penetrate deep into them. And Iran has the ability to strike back. That's what it comes down to. The Houthis have the ability to strike back. That's what it comes down to. And so Israel, over the weekend, had said, we don't view our operations in southern Lebanon as part of President Trump's negotiations with Iran. We are going to continue. Iran says, you will make them part of the negotiations. President Trump, of course, asked them to, both sides, of course, Iran and Israel, to set down, to not conduct these attacks. Both sides conducted the attacks regardless of what the president said. And that's what's created President Trump. He's now in this sort of role, Steve, where he's actually playing a mediator role. I would say President Trump's role has shifted at this point to be not an active member in the conflict. He, of course, reserves that capability, and the United States Navy is there ready, willing, and able to provide that capability. But it seems as though he's playing the role of mediator between these two sides now. So you've got Israel, the Gulf nations on one side, and the axis of resistance on the other.
I want to go to, you brought up your point. Can we play Kilmeade? I want to play a couple of minutes. Can you stick around? I want to play So your response on Fox and Friends was to give the response that you know from being an intelligence officer and being very close to the White House in the first term and the second term, right? It was pretty straightforward. You weren't untoward to Israel, correct?
Well, Steve, look, when we operate with any partner force nation, whether it be the Gulf nations, whether it be Israel, whether it be the South Koreans, of course, espionage is something that you always have to watch out for. There are always threat levels that come into play because everybody knows we have the best intelligence and everybody wants to know what we know. That's what the game is.
And also know our intentions. I mean, it's an open secret. We're going to have Sam Faddis on here. It's an open secret about that. Let's go ahead and play Kilmeade's response.
U.S. forces shooting down Iranian drones that threatened the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. It comes as new reports from NBC News and the New York Times allege that the Pentagon has raised their threat concerns over Israeli spying. Brian Kilmeade, Fox and Friends co-host and host of One Nation and bona fide Knicks fan, which we will get to. But Brian, there is this reporting about that Israel could be spying on American officials like Steve Witkoff and others during the Iran talks. The White House and the Israeli embassy in D.C. pushing back aggressively against this. What are you hearing about it?
What am I hearing about it? It is total BS. It's another anti-Israel story planted in a major media organization, put forward to help divide the two of the good guys, the U.S. and Israel. The problem in this whole thing is Iran. And the other problem is Hezbollah. Hezbollah is an unwelcome force in Lebanon. They have taken over that country, and they're finally being pushed back. They did not sign to Entente peace agreement. When it comes to Israel, I was in touch with some of the highest level of our intelligence apparatus. They say this is a dumb story. It is well known that we do the same exact thing with France, with Britain, and Israel. We are known to share intelligence and also monitor each other. This is just another example of people going out of their way to try to create a divide between us and Israel. And it does not exist. Yes, you have real arguments. That's called what friends do all the time. And that's really...
People have to understand we're going to get to the bottom of this intelligence situation for why we are in this situation that we're in currently, with President Trump having, as Jack said, having to be mediator. Like he doesn't have enough on his plate. Now he's got to insert himself. It's almost like doing the whipping votes down in South Carolina to get things done, or in these other House races to get things done, or the redistricting to get things done, or everything he's got to do on Capitol Hill. Jack, that's not what the story's. That's not what this is claiming. It's not about keeping an eye even on your allies or people close to you. This is about active measures they've taken to make sure that they are fully. I'll tell you what. Let's go to break. We're going to go to a short commercial break. Posobiec, stick with us. I know you got to bounce, but I got to get through this. Also, Jack, I want to talk to you about FISA. All of President Trump's enemies and all the neocons are just over the top that we need FISA. You have to get FISA. In order to get FISA, we got to get rid of Pulte as DNI. Nothing could be dumber. Nothing could be dumber. The very tools that the deep state needs. This is why Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton and the typical crowd, are just relentless, nonstop. The same guys that are trying to push through this merger of our defense base, industrial base, and the intelligence services. Jack Posobiec with us after a short commercial break.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
it's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself. You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com.
1 in 4 kids grows up without a father. That's not just a bland statistic. It's a national crisis. I'm John Popola, host of Dad Saves America and CEO of Emergent Order Foundation. I like to say we're what it would look like if Warner Brothers and PBS had a baby that actually loved America. We're building a movement that defends the family and calls men to step up, not check out. Visit dsa-rav.com today to take a stand for fatherhood and the American family.
When you look at your grocery bill, is it so high it knocks you off your feet? It's time to stand up and save with InstaSeal by Bell & Howell, the world's first vertical vacuum sealing system designed to save you money. Unlike ordinary storage bags that trap air in, spoiling your food, InstaSeal removes the air completely, extending freshness up to 6 times longer. Now that's saving. Look, flat sealers create a big mess, but InstaSeal is upright, mess-free, and easy. The secret is Smart Seal technology. With just one touch, it auto-feeds the bag to seal, pauses to vacuum out the air, then continues to perfectly seal. Plus, InstaSeal has a motor powerful enough to crush cans, but smart enough to save crackers from turning to dust. Forget big, bulky sealers you have to put away. InstaSeal's compact design stays to help you seal and save every day. Got a great deal on chicken, meat, or fish? InstaSeal protects it from freezer burn. Now, buy groceries in bulk. Make meals ahead of time. InstaSeal and save. It even works with all Universal Storage System bags. Buy on sale meats. InstaSeal and save. When you add it all up, InstaSeal will help you seal and save hundreds on your family's grocery bill. Call or go online now and get the complete InstaSeal system that keeps food fresh 6 times longer with enough storage bags to fill your entire fridge for the special TV discount price of just $99.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. You get it all, an incredible value for one low price. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-308-6802 or go to buyinstaseal.com. So call 1-800-308-6802 or order online at buyinstaseal.com.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Home Title Lock's got a special. Why don't you go check it out? HomeTitleLock.com, code Steve25. 2 years of coverage, a 2-year plan to protect your title against artificial intelligence, cyber, the combo platter of the attacks, all of it. 25% off. Talk to Natalie Dominguez and the team today. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Steve25. Go check it out. $1 million triple lock protection. Go check it out. 25% off. In commemoration of the 250th commemoration of the birth of our nation. Poso, real quickly, because I know you're jammed for time, your response to Kilmeade, and then we got to talk about Bill Pulte and this phony push for FISA, sir.
Well, yeah, Steve. I mean, look, of course, the intelligence agencies on all sides are always going to give blanket denials of ongoing operations. There's nothing new there. Of course, you're not going to ever avow an operation that's currently going or a counterintelligence operation at the same time. That's just tradecraft. That's just very basic tradecraft. And as far as the threat level going up, you know, this I've spoken to multiple sources throughout the weekend since these stories came out, all of which have confirmed it, and all of which confirmed that the move was made because of recent activity. So recent activity that was discovered that went into the assessment to say, hey, what's going on right now has necessitated this to come up. And keep in mind, Steve, that's also because we have more of our sailors and more of our Marines that are in that region. So sailors and Marines that are on the ships. Yeah. We've got more Army that's all throughout these bases, Air Force as well. So, you know, it's not just within when you're in Israel. It could be anywhere in the region or anywhere that's related. So it's something that goes out to the entire force so that everyone understands what they're dealing with and what the potential.
But I just want to hang on for a second. Don't bury the lead. But you have ascertained, given your contacts at DIA and other parts of the intelligence apparatus that the threat level against Israel was raised, correct?
I'm not going to confirm any agencies, but everyone I spoke to across the board says, yes, it's real. And by the way, that this report had widespread, that it was widely disseminated throughout the IC, that there are multiple versions of it, and that depending on classification level, and that it's something that a lot of people had eyes on.
Bill Pulte and FISA, sir. This big rush for FISA, now it's like everything. It has to happen by this Friday. Why do we need to confirm that right now? And we must get Bill Pulte in, right? He's an armor-piercing shell. We need a DNI right now.
Well, Steve, I've said before a number of times, the complaint, and the president, of course, said it as well himself in the Oval Office, I believe last week before he flew out to Wisconsin, and I was going to New York for the Knicks game, that he said the same complaints that they're making about Bill Pulte being a businessman and having a business background are the same things they said about President Trump, about being a businessman who was successful that then went into politics, which obviously has included a lot of national security. So that's how President Trump was able to use a businessman's understanding to go to North Korea and sit down with Kim Jong-un and said, forget about these talks. Let's go and sit down with them. He did the same thing with China. He's done the same thing with Russia multiple times, including Anchorage. That's President Trump using his business acumen to look at something differently than the swamp and the blob look at things. That's why Bill Pulte could be such an asset. And of course, he can put whatever team together that he wants. But having a guy like that in there, Bill the Bulldog Pulte, going over to ODNI. Number one, the president has said, I want to start pruning back the intelligence community. I want to understand, do we want this thing to be lean and mean? Do we need thousands of people tracking this stuff when we have the ability now with computers, when we have the ability to do this? And Steve, I'll tell you right now, when you say, oh, we have thousands of people, what does that mean? To me, I'll tell you the truth. It means there's redundancy. It means you need a DOJ over there. You need a kind of department to say, wait, are you guys actually conducting the work of keeping Americans safe? Are you keeping an eye on Iran? We just talked about the fact that, heard in the last segment here that, we're having trouble actually pinning down the percentages on the Iranian stockpile. I want people focused on that in my intelligence community. I don't want people focused on all the other crap, DEI and wokeness that they've been pushing for years. And that's a huge problem in the intel community.
The phony FISA versus Pulte is about the surveillance state. It's who controls America. Who controls America? American citizens. A guy like Pulte is going to go in. He's going to be a bull in the China shop. He's supposed to be. That's what we need. Jack, your social media. You're the Associated Press of the America First MAGA movement. So where do people go?
Yeah, and Steve, as far as FISA goes, just to say it, President Trump called her bluff. No one has been more abused by FISA than President Donald J. Trump himself, his family, and his supporters. So if he wants to call their bluff, then call it, because the president has all the leverage here. The president has all the cards here. They're sitting there saying, oh, we're going to hold up Pulte. Why should the president sign off on it when they haven't put in any reforms to this thing, when they haven't updated it at all to say, how can we prevent this from happening to any other individual within the United States? And this is how they did the backdoor collection on General Flynn, as well as we talked about last week when he was talking to Kislyak. So again, this is a system where President Trump has the advantage. Follow me, Jack Posobiec, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram. We got a ton of stuff on Telegram, True Social, and of course, Getter.
Jack, thank you for joining us. And coat and tie, I mean, you're raring to go. The work week, Tanya Tay packed your lunch and told you to get out and get down to DC. And
don't worry, Steve. I got my slippers on down here.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Jim Rickards. We got you on Monday because what happened over the weekend. Make it make sense to us. Where are we strategically? And how important is this that the Iranians decided to hit after an attack on Lebanon and Hezbollah, not an attack on them, sir?
Well, see, we're exactly where we talked about, where I described it 3 months ago, which is Trump has three choices. I've said this before. He has three choices. They're all bad. One is surrender. He can do that. He can. The reason he's trying to get this memorandum, whatever it is, and it doesn't exist, by the way, they each side has rejected all the others' suggestions or demands. So there is no negotiation. But the reason Trump wants to just have a piece of paper to wave, see, I got the greatest deal ever, victory, whatever. It's not. It's surrender. It would be seen as such, and therefore Trump won't actually do it. And the Iranians are not going to give him that piece of paper because they don't want him to be able to do that. The second option is stalemate. That's about where we are right now. Not much of a ceasefire. Jack said we're after Iran said we won't shoot, and we're back to the ceasefire. Well, if you have to get back to the ceasefire, it's not a ceasefire. I mean, you're shooting at each other. I know it's intermittent. I know it's not high intensity right now. Not much of a ceasefire, but it is a stalemate. Both sides are rearming. That's really what's going on. In the Iranian case, they're digging out missile launchers, going to mobile missile launchers. In the U.S. case, they're trying to get Raytheon and Lockheed to make a few more missiles. And then the third choice is escalation, which I've always said I think it's where we're going to end up, which is bad in its own way. That's just another Vietnam. So there are no good choices. But that's where Trump is, and that's where we are right now. I don't understand the whole Israeli spying story. I mean, I understand it. I follow it. But have these people not heard of Jonathan Pollard? I mean, that was 40 years ago. Israel has been spying on us the whole time, and they're really good at it, and we spy on them. It's you can make news out of it, but it's not news. It's just it's a steady state. So that's and as far as Iran shooting at Israel, Iran will take advantage of the ceasefire to do what I said, which is to rearm, build more drones, dig out the missile launchers, et cetera. So, yeah, they could use a breather, and they're taking it. But they're not out of this, and they're not going to – and they have all the leverage. They have all the leverage in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump talks about a decapitation strike. Well, yeah, on day one, we killed 40 of their top religious, military, and civilian leaders. That was decapitation. Then they replaced them all, and about a week later, we killed the next group. A second decapitation. This is what the Greeks call the Hydra. It has multiple heads. You keep chopping the head off. Further ahead.
Jim,
Jim, hang
on 1 second. Yeah, hang on 1 second. I want to play Tel Aviv Levin. You gave your three alternatives. Mark Levin gave another alternative over the weekend. Let's play it. I want your response.
Here's an idea. We spend the next 2 or 3 weeks hammering the hell out of every target that matters, including the so-called enriched uranium. 20% or more, I don't really care, whatever it is. And just hit them with everything we've got with those fabulous bombers and bombs. Take out everything we can find in coordination with our Arab and Israeli allies. Identify every IRGC facility we possibly can and level them. Do as much military damage as we possibly can, dual-use damage as we possibly can, and then leave. Rather than giving them money, which to me would be a disaster, and tell the Israelis and tell the Saudis, the UAE, which has been very good, and anybody else in the Arab world, we will provide you with whatever intelligence support, training, military equipment that you need. We will continue to use our posture in the region to defend our forces and our mutual interests. But as far as Iran and Hezbollah go, you go at it. If you want to blow Hezbollah off the face of the earth, then you do it. If you want to blow the Iranian regime off the face of the earth, then you do it. And in addition, what we, the United States, will do finally is arm the people of Iran, as we have, as a country, armed people throughout the world, freedom fighters who want their freedom. And I don't want to hear that the Iranian people don't want their freedom. That is baloney.
Now, clearly, Tel Aviv Levin is clearly looking for an alternative, but this is the first time this is an alternative. So what do you think about if you're looking for an off-ramp? Because here's the mediation role that President Trump's trying to do. You just said about the ceasefire. He's trying to move heaven and earth. They ain't ready for it. They both hate each other. Both sides think they're winning. The Israelis are going to continue to expand in Lebanon. The Gulf Arabs, I'm sure, have had enough of all of this, right? They thought they were going to be crypto capital of the world. That's not quite. The influencers are not on with bikinis on the beach in Dubai anymore, right? They all marched through the desert, got the hell out of there. Is Tel Aviv Levin offering an alternative that you think could work? Hey, couple more weeks, come in and pull out. And when he says our interest in the region, we don't have any interest in the region. Just pull out, tell the Arabs and the Israelis and the Persians, have at it, boys.
Well, where he started was my third option, which is escalation. So, he's saying, do it faster, do it heavier, give it everything we got. Our bombers and our pilots and our systems are great. They actually are. So you start blowing up bridges. All right. So I need a ferry. I got to drive the long way around. So much of what Iran has is, remember in 2025, we went at it with B-2 bombers and did a lot of damage, but we did not get the uranium. We did not completely eliminate Iran's ability to continue enrichment. So now we're trying to do it again. So I don't doubt that you could blow up a lot of targets and you could start tomorrow. But what good does it do you? You don't get regime change. You can get people change, but that's not the same as regime change. And so I think, and the last part of what he said, arming the Iranian people. So that's fantasy. That's like, what's it, Victoria Nuland or whatever her name is. The whole idea of Ukraine was never about Ukraine. It was about getting the Russian people to rise up and overthrow Putin. It was a fantasy. It shows no appreciation of Russian history and politics whatsoever. But that was the idea. Now, to hear the same thing repeated in Iran, of course, we all know Iraq, Rumsfeld, Cheney, they'll greet us with flowers and flags and everything. No, that's not what happened. 1 million people got killed they were using power tools to drill holes in people's heads. That's what was going on until the surge. So that's a total fantasy. But can we drop a lot of bombs? Yeah, that's escalation, but it doesn't get you anywhere. And then if you pull out, it's still a loss because they're still standing. Now, Vali Nasser was a brilliant scholar. He was the dean of the School of Advanced International Studies in Washington. That's where I got my graduate degree in international economics. He wrote a really good column in Foreign Affairs, and he said the following. I said, yeah, we wiped out 40 leaders, and then we wiped out 40 more. Sorry.
Hang on one second. I want to get to this. We're going to take a short commercial break. Jim Rickards, Eric Bolling, Sam Faddis in the War Room.
We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP.
Old school online security tools leave you half protected. Get NordVPN with a next-gen antivirus. Avoid online scams, malware, and phishing. Get NordVPN today.
People are being given 20 days to move their savings out of bank accounts just because of their political views. In fact, a conservative billionaire in Washington, who you know very well, was forced to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. If they can debank billionaires for their politics, what's stopping them from doing the same to you? This is why I've always advocated for the one asset that can't be debanked: gold. Click below for a free info kit on gold IRAs from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, while paper currencies and banking systems failed, gold has preserved wealth. Even billionaires are learning this lesson the hard way. Don't wait for your own 20-day notice. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
1 in 4 kids grows up without a father. That's not just a bland statistic. It's a national crisis. I'm John Popola, host of Dad Saves America and CEO of Emergent Order Foundation. I like to say we're what it would look like if Warner Brothers and PBS had a baby that actually loved America. We're building a movement that defends the family and calls men to step up, not check out. Visit dsa-rav.com today to take a stand for fatherhood and the American family.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath & Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Jim Rickards, continue on, sir.
Billy Nestor made a point. He said, okay, we killed 40 leaders and we killed 40 more, et cetera. But in the process, they've replaced them. And here's his point. All the people we killed were the revolutionaries, going back to the Iranian Revolution in 1979. The group that replaced them now, the third group, basically, they were born after the revolution. They were born after 1979. These are not the 80-year-olds. They're not even the 60-year-olds. These are 40 and 45-year-olds who grew up in this environment and are completely acclimated to it. And he makes the point, Nasser makes the point that revolutionaries can be a little insecure because they're looking over their shoulders saying, hey, is somebody going to do to me what I just did to the other guy? And they don't want to push things too far, having been successful in the revolution. This younger generation, they're much more secure, much more robust, nationalistic, yes, but they're completely at ease with what they have. So what Trump has done is he's brought in really a third generation of leaders who are much more grounded, much stronger. He's made the Iranian nation more united and actually with better leadership because they needed a change of leadership. So that's one thing. The Levin thing, I mean, we can bomb that. We bombed Hanoi for 10 years and lost the war. So tell me what good bombing does if you're not going to put boots on the ground. And we're not going to put boots on the ground. At least we shouldn't, in my view.
It's impossible.
We need to basically go to financial warfare, which you've talked about. Although that's a two-edged sword. Scott Bessent said, well, maybe we'll take the Iranian assets and use them for reparations in the Gulf. Okay, interesting. But then after Europe said we're going to take the Russian assets and use them for reparations in Ukraine, people around the world from, Shanghai to Singapore start saying, well, why do I want to buy U.S. treasuries if you're going to keep stealing them from me? So that's difficult also. So, and Levin's just fantasizing about the Iranian people rising up. So I'm back to the three bad choices. I would get, kind of a face-saving deal and get out, but I don't think it's what's going to happen. I think we're going to see escalation.
You've given a special deal for strategic intelligence. I think $49. It's a no-risk deal, $49 for 90 days, for 3 months. Give me a minute about strategic intelligence. Why is this a great deal for the people that watch this show and love your contribution so much?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Our landing page is at rickardswarroom.com. That's rickardswarroom.com. You can subscribe to Strategic Intelligence, a $49 introductory offer, money-back guarantee if you don't like it. Most people love it and stay with it. This is actually our biggest product. We put the most effort into it, the longest, and we specialize in predictive analytics. We don't tell you what happened. We tell you what's going to happen. We'll be zeroing in on the midterms probably around August. Right now, we're looking at China actually in the next few, and have done a lot on the Iranian war. But our track record speaks for itself from Trump 2016, Brexit, 312 electoral votes in 2024. It's better than anyone. So we're going to keep at it, and we hope people enjoy it.
Jim Rickards, thank you for joining us on Monday morning with good guidance. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. rickardswarroom.com. You get basically a free shot at strategic intelligence, $49 for 90 days. If you don't love it, they'll give you your money back. Not bad. Check it out. Predictive analytics. Speaking of predictive analytics, Eric Bolling, from the pits of the oil markets, what did they make of this week? And they thought it was all behind them, but it's never behind you, sir.
No, it's never behind, Steve. I wouldn't say confused anymore. I think they've gotten kind of disgusted with what's going on. The right are going back and forth. It's all clear. It's not all clear. Bombs fly. I think they've gone from the traders, and certainly the oil markets have almost discounted missiles. Now, remember, a missile flew 90 days ago, and then you have a massive upswing in the oil markets. Well, now it's come down to, missiles, we get that. Missiles are going to fly because pretty much what we've been saying here, I've been saying here since the beginning of this, is that there's never going to be peace in the Mideast. That's a pipe dream. But now it's what's the transit look like? So the Strait of Hormuz saw 10 ships transit the Strait of Hormuz in the last 24 hours. That's up from 2 or 3 a couple of weeks ago. I've seen 35 in the last few days. So they're getting mixed signals because although it seems like there's a little bit more transiting the Gulf, it's not fully open. There's no indication it's going to be fully open.
But when you say mixed signals, President Trump has said, "Hey, I call the shots. Stop shooting at each other. I'm the mediator here. Essentially, he's taking on the mediation role. That signal is pretty clear. President Trump wants peace. He wants everybody to lay their guns down and let's figure out a deal.
But
is there any question?
Okay,
go ahead.
The view is that that's what he wants now. First, it was we are going to demand their incapacity to deliver a nuke, got that. Incapacity to, we wanted a regime change, may or may not got that with little Ayatollah. And now we're going to demand the strait open without any interference from Iran. Well, I'll tell you what the perception is. Like it or not, the perception in the trading community is Iran has Trump backed into a corner. I mean, I think Rickard said it, but he said it in a way that these guys would say it more plainly and more blatantly. Iran has Trump backed in the corner because he doesn't have any good options left. I agree with Rickards. None of those three options that are left are good for Trump. Certainly not kinetic all-out warfare would be horrible for the base. Extending this in perpetuity will have prices.
You don't like your
CPI,
former colleague,
Steve.
your former colleague, Tel Aviv Levin. You don't like his alternative. 2 weeks, bomb the hell out of them, and then leave.
You could have done that 89, 92 days ago and maybe have a different result. Right now, Iran's laughing like, you bombed the crap out of us, and we're here we are. We still got the strait closed. Guess what? They've refuted everything Trump has said. We have control of the strait. Well, then why isn't it open? It's pretty clear that they're getting their ass handed to them economically, clearly, because there's not trade going through that strait. They need that. But it's also pretty clear that they're not going anywhere anytime soon, evidenced by the fact that they flew missiles into Israel over the weekend. Israel's not helping us. I will tell you, here's going to be a big thing. And if you look back at the things we've been saying here, all the things that we've been predicting are coming true. Wednesday's a CPI number, 2 days from now. I'll take the over on whatever number it is because oil has been elevated up over $90 up to $110 a barrel for the full month of the data that they collected. That means prices are going through the roof. That is an Achilles to a political, to an administration, which you know very well. But early on, I said this, and everyone said, "Oh, Bowling, don't you know you got to get rid of them, or they're going to kill us." I said, "You're never going to get rid of these fanatics. They're religious fanatics. They'd rather die than give up, and we will have them for our lifetimes, certainly, maybe our grandchildren's lifetimes as well."
We'll do a changeover today. I'll get the show organized enough at 5 that if you're so kind, we'll join you at the end of it and get up to date. If you're
always love it.
Okay, brother. See you at 4 o'clock.
Thanks.
You heard the media. I don't know why President Trump does these interviews. I just don't.
Attention homeowners, does your roof look like this? If so, your whole home is at risk for costly damage and repairs. Protect it today with a metal roof from Erie Home. Our roofs are tested to withstand wind up to 120 miles per hour. While hail and heavy snow can destroy traditional shingles, with an Erie metal roof, it's no problem. And they're built to last with a 50-year transferable warranty. And if you call now, get up to 50% off installation. Schedule your free estimate today. Call 1-866-770-ERIE or visit eriehome.com.
The must-see theatrical event of the summer, and just in time for America's 250th birthday, is Young Washington, a brand new movie from our good friends at Angel Studios. This tremendous movie tells the story of George Washington before he was a general or our president. He faced crushing failures, near-death experiences, and pivotal moments that forged his courage and leadership. The film stars Andy Serkis, Kelsey Grammer, and Ben Kingsley, and drops into theaters right on the anniversary of our country's founding. What Angel is offering right now is a premium Angel Guild membership for $15 a month or $135 for an annual membership. And with that membership, you get 2 free tickets to see Young Washington in theaters. You'll have access to Angel's entire streaming library. So how are you celebrating America's 250th birthday? I'd recommend becoming an Angel Guild premium member, which you can do by scanning the QR code on your screen or going to angel.com/wrap. Happy birthday, America.
The media has sold us out. Our institutions are rotting. and the American family is under siege. I'm John Popola, CEO of Emergent Order Foundation, and we are fighting back. From Dad Saves America to bold, unapologetic content about faith, freedom, and fatherhood, we're telling the stories that the legacy media has abandoned. Join the mission. Scan the QR code or visit eof-rav.com to support media that fights for America.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Monday, 8 June in the year of our Lord 2026. Longest day in golf for those of you that follow golf. I think the USGA does 18 hours or something today to try to qualify for the US Open in Shinnecock, fabulous Shinnecock Hills in a couple of weeks. I'll get to this with Sam Faddis. And also, I'm talking to a lot of folks that come on here tonight, maybe Royce White, Matt Meck, some of the other folks, Cleta, to talk about Los Angeles. You know, yesterday, Nelly Korda won the U.S. Women's Open over at Riviera in a beautiful day in Los Angeles. At the same time, they stole an election. It's like if you read history, like some of the worst moments in history, read like the day Pearl Harbor was struck, you know, National Football League was playing. People were going about their daily lives. Other things were happening as these major events were going on. Yesterday in Los Angeles, if you watched Nelly Korda win the U.S. Women's Open, it looked like a beautiful day in Los Angeles and just great celebratory. A young woman that's focused on winning our national championship for women for her entire life. Very dedicated, hardworking. Looks like a terrific person, great family. Sister really helps her out on her game and coaches her. And at the same time in Los Angeles, guess what? The very dark deep state forces and the Marxist jihadists stole the mayor's race in Los Angeles in broad daylight. This is one of the reasons President Trump is getting worked up, as he should, with her. Oh, there's no evidence, or there's overwhelming evidence. And the big steal is the railhead. One of the railhead of the MAGA movement. Faddis is going to join me. Sam, when we get to that in a second. Also, just want with Rickards. Rickards is fantastic. He's giving you basically a free deal as all of our sponsors are coming in to get even more involved in the War Room Posse. $49 for 90 days. If you don't love it and continue on, you can get your $49 back. You get Rickards and predictive analytics, and he's quite a guy. Faddis, this is your neighborhood. Give us your assessment. It's strategically, they kind of sent a message over the weekend. Hey, look, we shifted the battlefield over to the Persian Gulf in the center of gravity of the battle. Now, if you're going to hit Lebanon, we're coming in with ballistic missiles, which I thought were all destroyed, but coming in with ballistic missiles. So we had a pretty big shift over the weekend, sir.
Yeah, I mean, more evidence that we're nowhere close to the end of this thing, and we don't really have our arms around it, Steve. I mean, we can shout all we want about stop shooting, but the thing is, we don't actually have control over the situation. We have an exchange of fire between the Iranians and the Israelis. Two really dangerous things here. One, the Israelis apparently hit a petrochemical facility in Iran, and the Iranians retaliated by doing the same in Israel. The actual oil production and refining capacity in the Middle East has been largely, not completely, but largely off limits on both sides because nobody wants to burn it down forever. Anytime we start seeing those kinds of exchanges, we're getting pretty close to, something where we burn the infrastructure down and it'll take 10 years to rebuild it. The other thing is, of course, the Houthis fired on Israel, and they've now announced the Israelis can't sail ships in the Red Sea. So the Houthis are edging real close to coming back in and blocking that shipping corridor as well.
The reason that's so huge too is that this is the whole talk with NATO is that, look, you didn't send to Ukraine like we did. Now with the Red Sea and the Suez Canal and everything coming out of Hormuz, that's your deal. Our Navy, you're going to see another carrier battle group have to get deployed back over there to keep that. And remember, the Houthis gave, as a former surface warfare officer, the Houthis gave as good as they got back last May and June and July. And I think the Navy would tell you, as the Egyptian army would tell you, they lost, I think, 40,000 people there 50 or 60 years ago. As the British army would tell you, the Houthis are like they're a version of the Scotch Irish up in Appalachia, right? It's the Arabian Peninsula version of that. These are tough hombres. They don't like anybody. They don't get along with anybody. They don't get along with each other. They don't like each other. Okay.
That's right.
They feel they can shut down the Red Sea, and it's going to take another carrier battle group. And the British are going to send you one destroyer that goes to Crete and has to go in the yards. You got the French Navy's got nothing. The Italian Navy's got nothing. They won't step up. This is going to be one more. This is going to be another obligation of the American military. Am I correct in that, Sam Faddis?
You're 100% correct. And let's remember the whole Saudi solution to the Gulf of Hormuz has been to pump all their oil through the pipeline to the Red Sea, Yanbu, and send it out to the market there. So as soon as ships get hit in the Red Sea and the insurance companies, Lloyd's stops insuring tankers in the Red Sea, nobody will move in the Red Sea, and that, whatever it is,
Amen.
7 million barrels a day will be off the world market too in an instant.
Off the world market. Just not to put too fine a point on, things never change. I think one of the opening scenes in the 7 Pillars of Wisdom, T.E. Lawrence's great book about the Arab War, the Arab Revolt in First World War. And one of the opening scenes of the film, Lawrence of Arabia, takes place when they're trying to retreat. The Arab army that exists, which ain't much, are trying to retreat from the Turks to where? Yanbu. It's not Yanbu. So nothing changes. 100 and some years later, we're right back to it. So this is why this region, I think we got to give a big think about what we're doing there. So you had these two, you had the New York Times story, you had the NBC News story about raising the threat level internally on our intelligence of Israel as spying on us. Jack Posobiec said he confirmed that over the weekend on many different sources. You've also had, lo and behold, trying to merge the defense base in this House NDAA, and now Brandon Weichert saying they're doing the same thing on the authorization of intelligence for the intelligence apparatus. You've been in that neighborhood a long time. You know all the actors. Can you explain to the audience exactly what is going on, sir?
Yeah, I should add that at one point in time, I was actually in charge at headquarters of our liaison relationship with the Israelis. So, yeah, I know the subject. Look, the Israelis have been spying on us for a long time. I mean, there are all sorts of public cases, including Jonathan Pollard, in which they have run operations, recruited spies inside our defense and intelligence apparatus, and stolen secrets. And that's the tip of the iceberg. I'll leave it there. This has been going on forever. We've known that it's been going on forever. And for political reasons, nobody has ever been able to do anything about it. Even when they tried, they were slapped down. Again, I can confirm that from personal experience. So now you have these guys, the Israelis, are now supposed to be integrated completely into databases and projects and top secret stuff and special access programs. So the whole intelligence community basically runs on a system where if we're going to pass something to a foreign power, it goes through a clearance process. We actually decide piece by piece what we give to the other nations. You talk about the end of that with the Israelis. The Israelis will be I described it once as sticking a straw into the Pentagon. That's way too charitable. They will be pumping stuff out of the Pentagon, every aspect at the most secret level of our defense apparatus.
This will not be I drink your milk. This will not be I drink your milkshake. This will be much bigger. No. I'm gonna have you back on. We're gonna drill down on this more. Tom Cotton. I guess the thing is Tom Cotton's got some legislation that no American president could ever break the. Anyway, we got to get to the bottom of it. It's about who runs this country. The citizens of this country have to run this country. Since you ran the desk, we'll get back to you. But along that lines, I want you to put your hat on as a grassroots leader in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. One of the first times I really met you was in the run-up to the 2020 election when you were one of the great MAGA leaders to come on the show at the very beginning. But then the stolen election by, wait for it, mail-in ballots in Philadelphia and Allegheny County. Los Angeles, California, sir. This can't be more serious. I said yesterday, a beautiful day in L.A., Nelly Cortez representing her country, fights off them. You got a great Mexican player, a great couple of great players from Korea, a great English player. She wins for the United States, a very heart-rendering moment. At the very moment they're announcing, I think, a 30,000 vote drop and Spencer Pratt gets 10 votes. They stole it in your face, and this shows you can have as great a candidate as you have. Hilton, all these guys, Pratt, it doesn't matter. They control the apparatus, and they're just in your grill. And the president of the United States is 100% justified because this should be a 5-alarm fire right now for the American people. Unfortunately, the Republican Party just wants to look the other way, Sam.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely dead on. Look, there is absolutely nothing secure about mail-in ballots. Full stop. Okay, everything. We could spend the next 12 hours talking about all the ways in which mail-in ballots are completely insecure. Nobody really knows where the ballots are coming from, how they were filled out, who decided to make the selection, who paid for what. It's just, it's a joke. Pieces of paper are appearing and being counted. And even when there are rules, signatures, postmarks, etc., they ignore them all. So there's only one solution: hard copy ballots, in-person voting on election day with ID, right? That's the answer. The Republican Party, as you said, took a dive on this after 2020. Their official position now is to just ignore it, not talk about it. They're doing absolutely nothing to fix it. It's the end of the republic. I mean, it's the end of any semblance of being able to rely on the outcome.
First, you agree with the mathematicians. What happened over the weekend, and particularly yesterday, was mathematically impossible. He couldn't have gotten that few votes. I mean, these dumps they were given were like the dumps they were given in Pennsylvania. Remember, we went off the air in Pennsylvania. Was Trump up 900,000 or a million, 1,000,002, 800,000? There was some spread, 800,000 to 1,000,002 he was up. It was mathematically impossible for him to lose, given what was outstanding at the time. And, of course, they stole it in broad daylight in Pennsylvania in 2020. Yesterday, these were mathematical impossible. They don't care. It's not that how stupid they think we are. They just don't care anymore. They're just going to do it. You know, they got a process. They're going to run it. It's a 45-day process. Sam.
Yeah, 100%. Look, Pennsylvania 2020. After all the math has been done and all the numbers have settled now over the course of years, there are still something like 130,000 votes and change. More votes that were cast in Pennsylvania in the presidential in 2020 than people who voted. I'm not a math whiz, but those two numbers have to be the same. And anytime you get 130,000 more votes than people that voted, you got a big problem. Nobody has ever been able to resolve it, even after all of this time. It remains on the books. The official position of the Republican Party is what? To just put their fingers in their ears, say la, 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 and pretend that's not true.
I'm going to hold you through the break, Sam, and thank you for sticking around prior. We're supposed to get you up earlier, but I want to go to that is the key point. The reason California and the mayor of Los Angeles, the reason Spencer Pratt ain't in the race in November is because we've known this in Georgia, in Arizona, but particularly in Pennsylvania. And the official apparatus doesn't want to deal with it, sir.
Yes, sir. That is absolutely true. You try to get the establishment to even discuss this issue in Pennsylvania, and this is true everywhere. They don't want to talk about it. You are a crazy person and a conspiracy theorist.
You know, the great thing I love about MAGA and the great thing I love about the grassroots in this audience, if you go to the events that Sam puts on, you go see the grassroots, the working class and middle class people in Pennsylvania that make it happen, or in Georgia, or in Arizona, these swing states. The number one thing they talk about is election integrity, and they're treated like crazy people. Republican apparatus, official Republicandom. Talk to me about Los Angeles County. You don't have a country. Let me be blunt. Who controls America? Ask yourself today, see what you see. Who controls this country? You're never going to win, ever, another one of these sanctuary cities. You're not going to win Illinois and New York and California. You don't think that's dangerous? You don't think that's dangerous? That's a true pathway to a civil war, which is what they want. Short break. Sam Faddis on the other side.
I'd like to say this is the first time, but there have been others.
How many?
Who can keep track?
You think this is a joke?
Darling, we need answers, and you're going to give them to us.
Tell us again.
My car broke down. I brought it here. I got stuck paying an expensive repair bill.
So it's true.
How much, darling?
$2,300. But
$2,300.
Well, what was I supposed to do? My transmission was shot.
You pick up your phone and you call CarShield before the car breaks down.
Plans through CarShield cover up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car.
That's right. A plan through CarShield could save you on some criminally high auto repairs, especially if your car is out of warranty. So, call CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company, before a breakdown and save yourself from getting stuck in car repair jail.
Let me guess. You hate saving money.
Who hates saving money?
Apparently you do.
All you had to do was call CarShield. And you could have protected yourself against expensive repairs.
Yeah, and then my price will go up the minute I file a claim.
Shut up! CarShield has the price locked in.
For as long as you cover your car.
I guess I should have called CarShield.
It's about time you said something that made sense.
Now you know what you need to do next time.
Bet he'll call CarShield now.
So can I go? Or
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. Don't get handcuffed paying expensive auto repairs. Call now and get the CarShield guarantee. Your price will never go up and your coverage will never go down as long as you cover your car. In just minutes, you could have a plan that covers up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car. Don't wait until it's too late. Get CarShield's best coverage yet. Call 800-491-4896.
The must-see theatrical event of the summer, and just in time for America's 250th birthday, is Young Washington, a brand new movie from our good friends at Angel Studios. This tremendous movie tells the story of George Washington before he was a general or our president. He faced crushing failures, near-death experiences, and pivotal moments that forged his courage and leadership. The film stars Andy Serkis, Kelsey Grammer, and Ben Kingsley, and drops into theaters right on the anniversary of our country's founding. What Angel is offering right now is a premium Angel Guild membership for $15 a month or $135 for an annual membership. And with that membership, you get 2 free tickets to see Young Washington in theaters. You'll have access to Angel's entire streaming library. So how are you celebrating America's 250th birthday? I'd recommend becoming an Angel Guild premium member, which you can do by scanning the QR code on your screen or going to angel.com/Raph. Happy birthday, America.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Sam, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate you. Real quickly, because you've done a great piece, and we can put that up, from Stephen Hatfield. And we're trying to get Dr. Hatfield on tomorrow. It takes about 2 days to get Dr. Hatfield ready for a hit because he's a piece of work, right? One of the most brilliant guys I've ever met. Yes. Sam, before you leave, Texas, the screwworm,